Well, hello, everybody. Well, it's me, Francisco, here for Sports Goofs number 215. I'm joined by Charles. Andrew is not here, but that's fine. It's been a very long hiatus. We haven't made an episode, Charles, in September of last year, which was week 2 of the NFL.
Yeah, I remember I was walking around the complex talking about Cam Ward and how I felt that he was the possible prospect path. And like 8 months have passed by. And, we're a little busy. I was doing some adult things, transitioning a job and, career, and then also education. And that has now ceased, thankfully. The job's still good, everybody, but I don't have to be a student anymore on online classes. God bless adjunct professor. So now I'm more available for Francisco in the show than Andrew's Andrew. He does his own thing. But I got to tell you, I was kind of missing out on it. I feel like the hobbies that I have aren't really real hobbies. They're just kind of like day-to-days, and then you get that burnout because that final month in April, even though we're on the final day in April, the final month in April, I was doing assignments and prepping up for the big statewide training that my employment required me to do. So it was all gas, no brakes, to quote Jacob Fatu in WWE. So you kind of look at what you have, especially when you get older. Some people want to do like falconry and all this other stuff, or learn quantum physics. And I am too lazy and too respectful of Mother Nature to be doing any of those things. So I said, okay, what was my day-to-day? We used to do this weekly for a good 4 or 5 years straight. It was only until year 5 that we're like that burnout kind of came and we took longer breaks. But what I say in the chat, I'm like, we took a Stranger Things break, meaning we got to get the right story, we got to get the right budget, we got to have our actors learn how to speak a bit and act better. That's something that happened over break. I watched Stranger Things finale, go figure. So now we're back. We're going to get our Emmys and our Potty Awards, whatever they call those things. We're back with a vengeance. We're here.
Yeah, it's been a while. Life has hit us, careers have hit us. We're all kind of, I guess, spread too thin in some aspects, to the point where we couldn't do this show. We weren't even gaming as much. I wasn't gaming as much as I had normally been doing.
Andrew wasn't even UCFing the way he would UCF.
That is also true.
To give you guys some insight.
Yeah, that was also true. He was I don't know, after the Panthers won the cup, it just kind of took everything out of me to kind of gear up for anything more. And then after like the Marlins eliminated the Mets that last season at the end of the 2025 baseball season, I just kind of, I don't know, we things just kind of ran off the rails when it came to life and career and things, that I couldn't really sit down and do this show. I've been doing podcasts and stuff like that, just trying to do something out there, and of course do the Twitters and the social medias, right? So weird things have happened there, Charles. If Jonathan Papelbon followed me for whatever dumb reason.
Well, it's Jonathan Papelbon, and then, a dead dog has more brain cells than he does, if you read this Wikipedia page and some insights from past people about him. Like, find like relief picture, whatever. I'm not going to talk trash about him, but, I already did. So it's
you're a Yankees fan, and that, so you already have some opinions about the man, but I don't know. I have no idea how that happened. He's never played for the Marlins. He was mainly in the American League. He, like, with the Red Sox, that's what he's most known for. I think he went to DC.
He probably doom scrolled. And that's the thing. It's just the algorithm, and the algorithm is actually going to be good for you at times, as opposed to just being goon sessions, which is just all Twitter is now. So you know what? Like, I appreciate the First Amendment rights and everything to be broadcasted on social media, but man, you get it too much now. That with like the hyperbots, I'm like, all right, man. Like,
yeah,
what are we
but
doing?
That is legitimately.
How did John Papelbon show up?
I have no idea how that happened.
Consistency.
He followed me, and I post just dumb stuff on the Marlins, so So that's all that is. But hey, maybe he just appreciates baseball history, no matter where it comes from. But I don't think I've made a single post about him in any sort of way. Not even like a clip
I mean,
of like a
it was
guy
a
getting a
village
hit
of
off of him or
coffee,
something.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
But
and it's just it's not that he's remote from our time. He's relevant even to modern day Red Sox fans. It's just
yeah,
weird because there's no Marlin Red Sox interplay. There never has been. Not even a brawl or anything that I can think of.
yeah.
They never played each other in the World
Our
Series or
only
anything like
major
that.
connection is like Mike Lowell and Hanley
Yeah,
Ramirez.
yeah. But I mean, well, it could also, if I had to theorize, it could be mostly because of how sometimes Twitter will also retrograde some stuff
Mm.
and apply some things. So maybe he just kind of caught it. I don't know. Or it could be the fact that you're followed by some big names on Twitter. Follow
Yeah.
him on the Twitter. Follow us on the Twitter, sports_goofs, FJOJR Jr., Dan Frijoles, Charles the True, Marlins historian, Panthers historian,
Mm.
all that fun stuff. So that's probably what happened. I don't know. I can never understand the algorithms because it's wrestling, video games, and then just like goon sessions.
Yeah.
Unwanting, or undesired goon sessions, but appreciated all the same. And then just weird bots. We do a lot of clickbaiting too. I want people to give me the complete answers to what they're trying to say. Come on, you have like all these characters now.
Yeah. Well, this show is very open-ended because we have like several months worth of stuff to talk about. I opened the show.
We're also a variety show, everybody. We
And
evolved.
that is also true. But I opened the show with the soundtrack for Super Mario Galaxy and 1 and 2. Okay. And the cover for this episode as well is cover from the Mario Galaxy movie poster. So I think it's relevant because I saw the movie this past weekend, Charles.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so Mario Galaxy movie, it's Illumination. So if you're looking for quality animation as far as storyline and things like that, you're not gonna find it here. That's Illumination is just pumping stuff out, and that's just they just know how to make money by appealing to the mainstream as hard as possible, and that's what they do. But the animation is quality, right? There's not it's you cannot say that the Mario Galaxy movie was not well made in the sense of visually, audioly, all of that aspect. It was a very well put together movie. There was some actual love and care. Just if you're a Nintendo fan and a video game fan, looking at how much they tried to reference a lot of things, but the Mario Galaxy movie was a lot in one 90-minute package. It just didn't stop at any point. You didn't really have much time to breathe during the actual runtime of the movie because it just begins with action pretty quickly into the movie, and it doesn't really stop until the end. And look, I guess if you try to make it as a analogy to the games, then sure, some Mario games are like that, where it's just, hey, you're going one action after another, and one scene may not seem like it goes together with another scene, but a Mario game is kind of like that too, where there's just different themes of levels, and you're just seeing different variety all at once. But as far as what I saw of it, I enjoyed it overall. I don't think anybody can really hate it if you're going in there looking for an Oscar worthy film akin to anything that Pixar or Sony Studios is making. You're not gonna get it. You're not getting that from Illumination. They're never gonna make, at least right now, it doesn't seem like they're ever going to make a movie that's going to be worthy of a Best Animated Film nomination right now. It's just not their jam. They're not looking for it. And this is a pet project with Shigeru Miyamoto. He's basically just in a weird way doing what Kojima wants to do. Hideo Kojima wants to do, but just kind of he just doesn't have the source material that Kojima has with regards to trying to create a massive storyline. But there's stuff from the Mario games that you can pick at because there's been 40 plus years of material there, and I did appreciate a lot of the nods. It's one of those movies that yes, you have to either buy it or watch it again on stream just so you can pause and see what references you missed. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. But how about you, Charles?
I think I told you it's a 90-minute sugar rush of a film, and that's fine because you can't read into critics. And my buddy, he was like, it's fine. Mario games don't have that kind of substance. The first movie had some substance, but it's easy to kind of do that when you have an intro. I think every video game movie, if they did like everybody, saga-wise, in Nintendo, is going to look kind of clean as having some substance because you're doing intro, so you have to explain the generic lore, especially since those Mario games or the Nintendo games were not text heavy coming into it. When you get to a sequel, it's like you have to kind of figure out if you've actually played the games. Forget being a purist. What do you want to watch? Do you want to watch a 90-minute film about Mario going to Casa del Fin or whatever it's called, and then we get the intro of Bowser Jr. and just follow that beat to expand on a game that you played that wasn't text or story based aside from the bullet points? Because that's what the Mario games are. All bullet points.
Yeah.
I really, and we love Galaxy and to a degree Odyssey, which is the natural evolution of it, but it is not something that has stories. It's Bowser's bad guy, Bowser steals princess, things happen in between where Mario gets cool powers, and you even get to play as the friends along the way, right? So it's very commendable that they just said, hey, we're just gonna do all these little nods to it, Starbucks, to go from there. But I think every Nintendo game that started with the NES is just going to kind of be like that. And you're going for Illumination as very much of like, they know how to make stuff cute, right? They know how to make things cute. And I had some people that were complaining like, oh, it didn't really feel like a Mario movie. It's not. It's a Bowser Jr. movie. If there's any substance about a father and son, and the son doesn't want the father to change because he likes his dad who he is, that's really what it is. But it doesn't take a PhD to interpret that. That's just they were giving it in front of you. It was just different because like, oh, Bowser's the bad guy. Whereas I would have been that person who's like, where's Bowser's mama? I think the only disappointment from it, which is well deserved, is like you call it Mario Galaxy, but Rosalina's not really in it. And for like the two people who didn't watch the movie, I'm not going to spoil, but you bridged a gap.
Shit. All right. Let's see if we can get it back, Charles. Okay, I brought everything back in here.
Let's continue it.
Yeah. We lost it there for a bit. I don't know. The program crashed on me. I was trying to do 10 different things at once in the background, and let me just make sure. Oh yeah. We are back.
Okay. So. But to summarize or to continue on from where I left off on that, I didn't care for the reveal of it. It's just how do you incorporate Rosalina? But when you look at the first movie did a lot what the second movie did, which was just like bring in a whole bunch of like bridging series or games in the series. They even have Mario Kart. They have Rainbow Road. Mm-hmm. So what else could you have done? And I gotta say, less is more with Mario in those movies because Chris Pratt doesn't really do it for me. He did like an admirable job in the first one, or admirable job in the first one, but the second one he was barely there for me to kind of care, which is good. We like Charlie Day as Luigi, but if you really want the substance, it's those spin-off movies they're going to give it to you. The Luigi's Mansion, the possible Donkey Kong film. We're never going to get Metroid because they can't even like advertise.
I mean, Nintendo's there's rumors that Nintendo's pitching a Metroid film anyways right now.
Yeah, but like I don't think you're going to like you're not going to get like an Illumination.
Oh no!
And then somehow
it'll be a separate thing, I guess, like the way the Zelda movie is right now.
That still makes no sense to me because it's not that Zelda has good or bad lore. It is not a series lore because every story is like an Elsewhere story for anybody who's read comics. That's legitimately like what it is. Is that there's hardly any interconnected stuff unless you subscribe to the theory that every 100 years or 200 years there's a Zelda, a Ganon or Ganondorf, and then some weirdo named Link who doesn't talk, right? And then the Triforce comes in. That's really like your only connection of the series because it doesn't offspring into anything. I think for yeah, you have some that have sequels. It's debatable, even if Tears of the Kingdom is a legitimate sequel to Breath of the Wild, and that's why it's really important to play those Age of games because they kind of confirm some things that may or may not, like parallel universes. They exist. Is Nintendo like breaking my brain a bit? I also just don't think Zelda's gonna translate well because you don't really have like you have a strong villain in Ganondorf, but you're gonna have to really like put that origin story on him to be the driving force. You know what I mean? And because that's how movies are. It's an archetype. Whereas, and it's so funny because Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they disregard, or at least Breath of the Wild disregards your villain because they say, "Hey, sandbox exploration."
I mean, the two latest Zelda games, the two main ones. Literally, the game starts and then their main mission is kill Ganondorf. It's like, okay, or destroy Ganondorf.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, now you're off to your own devices and you figure out a way to get there without any storyline coming into it. They have points, of course. We have to look for the memory points and stuff like that during the game where you can kind of see flashbacks. But even then, those only last for about like a minute, maybe.
Yeah, cup of coffee.
Yeah, everything else you're just kind of gleaning off of the environment, and you have to watch like YouTube videos just to see what the lore really is for the game. And yeah, the Age of games, the Hyrule Warriors, open up actual storylines there for the most part. But yeah, the Zelda's hard. Depends on how they set this up because I find it difficult to do that in one solo movie. If you're trying to set up all these characters, I mean, maybe you can, but I don't know if they want it to just be a solo project or if they're trying to set it up for at least one more sequel, trying to do like a Lord of the Rings mini trilogy there.
It's so tough to even kind of like, if I had to write it, and thankfully I'm not tasked with that job because of all Nintendo IP properties, Zelda would never get made. Love the series. I would never have commissioned anything to be done. And the difficulty is like Zelda is generational since everybody latches on to certain stuff. But aside from Wind Waker, which I'm fond of, I wouldn't like adapt any of those things. Whereas the Mario movies are like, okay, we're just gonna canon everything as much as we can, and you do what you want with it. Sure. You wouldn't even see a damn ocarina on Link. You know what I mean? If anything, you could steal it from one, because one's not a story. One's very simple. Princess in trouble, evil spirit, go get her. And that's how you kind of do it. So it's better to do that. But then you fall into the trope, which scares me a bit because Zelda's a very tropish game. When it comes to story, is that like a warrior of destiny or
the hero's journey,
a princess who supports. It's a shonen manga without any of the fun stuff that comes in, and I think we're kind of burnt out on that too because of how the comic book movies did it. Majority DC, MCU, and then DC, and now you're gonna get that in gaming. Whereas I want the fun Fox pilot who's gonna go amongst the circuits in the galaxy as a mercenary, where everybody thought he was just a pilot. Like, no, he's a mercenary. Y'all forget about that. Or I'll take a DK movie. That would be fun. You already kind of laid the groundwork on that a bit because of who you can cross promote. Or if I had to go into like the Rolodex of Nintendo movies, like I think a Metroid live action makes sense if you just make it like a survival horror PG wise or PG-13, which is doable. Just don't like show gore and gooning stuff. But if you didn't do that, I really think aside from Star Fox and Metroid, if I had to look at the Rolodex of people or characters, I would never have touched the Legend of Zelda series whatsoever to even go from it. And I kind of like thinking about it is like, what's the other ones that would kind of work and you just relate to Smash, but like you don't want to do Kirby actually has had like television shows.
Yeah, Kirby already had a TV show, so you've already kind of. And once again, Kirby doesn't have. Kirby has a story, but it's.
He's a fat teddy guy.
No, in all honesty, Kirby's some of Kirby's games actually have more of a hook than some Mario games actually.
Legitimately, the Forgotten Lands.
Yeah,
is a good playthrough. Like everything, and Return to Dreamland. Like there's actually legitimate content in there that you can build with. And I'm people are gonna laugh at me, but if you want to do an Illumination style movie, and I say this only because I know they released that Goat movie that's like created with like Steph Curry, you could do a Punch Out movie, Illumination style.
I mean, there's
just say he's already hinted.
Yeah, they already.
And I would kind of watch it.
Yeah. There's several Smash Brothers esque I'm looking at the right now. 1 second. Turn off this blending here. So yeah, I'm just going through this list of Smash Brothers series. Obviously, we're in the Mario one. Yes, you can do a DK because you kind of set up this character already, and he's kind of fun and all that stuff. So you can do that. They're making a Zelda movie. They're already filming it.
Live action, so weird.
It's live action. We'll see how they do with it. There was one image of Link that looked pretty cool with the cape on, or something like that. So that's fine, and we kind of seen that in the Breath of the Wild games. A Metroid series is, man,
makes sense, right? Makes too much sense.
One movie. So yeah, we'll see. Now that. I mean, you don't even really need Donald Glover to do Yoshi stuff, but I don't know how much you can do Yoshi on his own.
You can't, but it's okay.
Unless there's just a bunch of other Yoshis and they're all just saying Yoshi to each other. But we've got Kirby, already had a TV series, but you can always bring him back to do stuff. And the Mario Galaxy movie kind of hinted at basically like, hey, they're in the galaxy and there's a lot of these characters that just travel into space for whatever reason. So that all makes sense that Kirby would be in this. We already got Fox and the post-credit scene. No, we're just gonna.
Which he was just perfect, by the way. Everything, and mind you, there hasn't been a Star Fox like
anything
blip in 11 years.
Yeah,
and they really like Glenn Powell nailed it for me. Even though I listed who I would want in there, and Ryan Gosling did show up in that name, just saying everybody. But like the demeanor, the attitude, the it's Han Solo basically, in the fun way. And I was like, yeah. And they even gave him like a 2-minute bit that explained this whole thing. And should they have like held it back? Maybe. But remember, when I saw this movie, I was stuck with also a bunch of kids in that theater. So you already know I had like a maker mark in me. I'm like, all right. But those kids were well behaved. Good on you, children in the theater, for not making me regret it. But I was the one like having a little bit of tears in my eyes. I welled up a bit, but they at least understood his character, because I think Mario's a hard character to kind of understand too. That's what the first movie was doing so much, to kind of build him to be different than what we knew. Well, just Italian plumbers who don't use that accent anymore. We're just trying to make a buck.
So Fox has a very compelling background to go with it, and his games have all kind of fleshed that out from the beginning. It's like, oh yeah, your dad died, and all these other things, and then
I'll even take Dinosaur Planet. Man,
there's literally a Star Fox Command DS game that has several branching paths and storylines that like several different types of endings that you can get in that game alone. So they have fleshed out this Fox series where it's like, yeah, you could make a TV series on Peacock for that. You technically could. You could spread that out. It's a space opera. That type of thing. So we've Japanese eat that stuff up. Actually, that was kind of their jam for quite some time in the 70s. So
say a Saint or whatever it's called, the old anime, anything Gundam.
Was it Harlock? That was another one. Yeah. So all of that stuff is within the realm of Star Fox there.
Do you think they try Fire Emblem if Zelda's successful?
I think Fire Emblem would probably be an anime if they try and do anything with it.
People are finally going to be able to know the difference between Shulk and Roy.
Yeah, but an anime is probably the best way to go with that, and the same thing
You're
with
gonna
like,
take that serious, right?
Xenoblade would be the same thing. Xenoblade would actually be good as an anime because they're all RPGs, they're all strategy RPGs.
Is it not? It's essentially Evangelion, and I feel like people are gonna fight me on that.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's also inspired by that, and then Pokemon's got their own thing, so we don't really have to talk about that.
They were fine with Detective Pikachu.
Yeah,
you know,
so.
it's I don't need. I mean, out of all things, like also because you talked about it a long time ago, doing another Pokemon movie regarding like any kind of like tournaments is bad for role models for kids because Ash was doing that for like 50 years and he only won like one major competition. So we don't want to do that for kids. We want to inspire them that anybody can do it, not be a perpetual 10-year-old loser with his pet Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu kind of did allude to there being a seedy underbelly in the Pokemon series, which there has been. There always has been. It's just very, very, very sugar coated to be palatable.
We're not going to have black market where Kangston's going to get its.
But there basically is. So that's what Team Rocket and everything was doing. So all right, Earthbound. I don't know if there's. That's a hard.
You really could.
You really could. It's a very, very good.
It's not a them thing though. It's not. It's definitely not Illumination. It's not. Nintendo's not gonna make money off of it either.
No,
because kids are not gonna like it. Little children are not. Because here's the thing: the Illumination stuff is little kids, and then girls who think everything is cute.
Yeah, and Earthbound's already a satire of
American women who think everything.
Earthbound's a satire of American culture, which could actually fly nowadays, to be honest. But F-Zero, they've already done an anime series for that, so that
and that would be like Wachowski Speed Racers. So like we don't need the double.
Like if you were to introduce Captain Falcon, it'd be an interesting way.
It would be Mario Galaxy too.
But I mean, Miyamoto also created F-Zero, so he might have some affinity for that. Maybe a cameo, just like or a prominent feature, just like Fox did. But Ice Climber, nobody's making any of that.
I love them in Smash. They're deadly, but no, we can't justify.
Mr. Game & Watch did show up in this movie.
I didn't expect that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was actually a very good bit. For however long it lasted, Kid Icarus would actually be really good. But I think Sakurai would probably want to be in charge of that because that's his baby now.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping he's lining up something for the Switch too. Like, I would hope.
He gave us Kirby Air Riders, okay?
I mean, he just did, but that'd be like the next great project aside from Smash. I don't know if they'll get him to do Smash again, but he probably will. But Kid Icarus is all lined up for like a show as well. You got.
And they want shows, and they just want movies. Like, I mean, that's the hard part. It seems like they just want movies.
But it seems like it'd be great for a show because of all the it's all just Greek mythology, so they can just work with that. There's how many Greek mythology TV series and shows and movies and everything that's been inspired by that. That'd be pretty. And Kid Icarus is kind of weird because they kind of do their own spin off of it a bit there, but okay. Mario movie, Mario Galaxy movie at the end showed Daisy, so there's a spoiler there as well. But
it's been out for 3 weeks.
I'm going to assume the next movie is going to have Wario in it because that's really
need him, right?
That's the only way. I mean, you need a villain, and if anybody's played the Mario Land games, Wario ties into Daisy, very much so, and there is a space element to that too. So. I just
like the fact that in the chats our whole debate is that Daisy is Latina and we're like fan casting her.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be that girl that plays Wednesday Addams.
Oh, Jen Ortega.
Yeah, probably be her or something like that.
Sure, I don't know. Like it's just if Daisy's gonna be there for only 5 minutes the way Rosalina was, do yourself a favor to save the money and just hire a professional voice actor. that Brie Larson was excellent. Brie Larson, if you're hearing us, follow us on the Twitter. Yeah. We love Nintendo as well.
Yeah, she appeared so very. She had so very few lines that she could technically still do a Metroid, and nobody would.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's because the fact that Rosalina is actually a character who lacks substance. And
that's true.
I try not to say that to anybody. Oh, we love Rosalina. I'm playing Smash. I'm playing Mario Tennis and all this other stuff. She's great. It's just like it is like I am a mother. or I am
Yeah.
a guardian of these little like light brights.
Yeah.
And I take care of them. That's really it. And of course, Nintendo, the bastards one that they are, is they release like new story for Mario Galaxy 2 that just came out. If you like finish it, I'm like, I don't want to replay that. I mean, maybe, but not really right now.
Watch it on
And
YouTube.
I got too much to play.
I already
right?
100%ed both of those games. I'm done.
And now they're giving us that. And I did my time with the Mario remasters like 4 years ago when we did it consecutively in December, right? So I was like, okay, guys, what are we doing here? But she's lacking. And it's not bad to say you lack substance. There is a problem when she's like the most omnipotent character out there and doesn't do anything. But
Yeah.
what do I know?
Yeah. Well, we saw Pikmin in the movie, but I think Pikmin will always just be relegated to doing animated shorts.
Yeah,
So,
no. Pikmin, what you could do is when you give Mario like a micro mushroom, because I came up in like Wonder, then you can have him be at the same height with Pikmin, and it's all fine.
Yeah.
Or you could have like Olimar or Louis, just right there. I would pay money for that. I mean, Pikmin ideally is a great film, but then you're putting a weird disparity of stuff because these are not humans. Olimar and Louis are just like little tiny guys, and we love some of the other people, but like we just love Pikmin as well. God,
Yeah.
that Pikmin 4 was just a stellar game.
Yeah.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
All right, we saw Rob. Rob was in there, so with the
Rob, and he made sense where he was.
Yeah.
But what else are you getting? We listed off like the
Yeah.
mainstays.
had to show the kids what Rob was like. So there's a YouTube short you can see exactly what he was like, and how much they hit on the joke, which was fun. After that, the Nintendo series kind of get little, like, you have Animal Crossing, and yeah, you could probably make a show out of Animal Crossing with all these cute characters, but
no one's gonna want to see.
Yeah,
No,
there's not gonna be a
one's
movie
gonna-
for it. That's
a
for
movie
sure.
about taxes.
Yeah, but it could be a show. I could see a show around it. Like, oh, okay, but really, how much conflict can you get out of it? There's no villains in the aside from Tom Nook and
Paying taxes.
Yeah, so that's the real villain and all. So, Punch Out. We did see Little Mac. He
It's the
was
only
in
thing
there
that makes sense.
very briefly. It would be within the world because he is from the Bronx, and we obviously have clearly established that the Mario Brothers are from New York.
I'm just surprised they dropped off New Donk City.
Yeah,
Like that was where you can
I
leave
think-
some substance.
I don't know. Yeah, but I guess they'll just make it New York instead, right? So
Yeah.
so there you go. So it makes sense for Little Mac to show up somewhere. I don't know. You could find a way to put him in there. No Duck Hunt references. No Splatoon. But Splatoon's doing their own thing. I don't know. Sheesh, I feel like Splatoon could do like a Rocket Power type of thing, but I don't know.
I mean, I think. All right, so hear me out. And
We're about to get Raiders, and I don't know what they're gonna do with the storyline there. So
It's gonna be essentially as they should make it. It just there's two movies I give reference for people. You got to make it like Rollerball, which has two films. One of them in like the 1970s, and then you have the 1999 Chris, I think Isaac and John Renault film. Maybe it's not Chris Isaac, the guy from American Pie, not Chris Isaac was the games. Or if he's on Alita Battle Angel and that little sports game in the movie, like that's how you just make it about building into it.
Yeah,
Like make it
a
like
tournament type of thing.
Yeah, make it legitimately like an esports game.
Yeah,
You're gonna make money. You're gonna make it money.
Yeah.
And I'll be entertained because there's no main character. I mean, what, Agent 8? Okay, but there's IP, but it's stuff that I don't need either because I just rather. And that's the thing, when you make any video game movie, which is relevant to a trailer that released today that I watched.
I mean, that's kind of the hot ticket for Hollywood right now. We're in the age again because it was back in the 90s. That's when we had this first explosion of video game movies where it's just like
the original Mario.
We're making
Mario
video game movies out of franchises that barely have any entries and barely have any story. And now we're back here
Back at it.
30 years later. All of these franchises have had enough time to build up storylines because we got a Sonic the Hedgehog series that is actually legitimately good. Like, if you're a Sonic fan, it's legitimately good. And as a movie series, it does story better than Mario. Okay, I can't
Superior.
objectively. if you're looking at the way a film is structured and how interesting it is and how you're fleshing out these characters, Sonic does do better than Mario in that sort of sense. And I'm loving the trajectory of that series. We're getting Sonic CD as the next thing. So that's cool.
Bell as Amy is a good choice.
Yeah. Mega Man had like a TV show a long time ago, but Mega Man's not popular enough. He's not popular enough for it.
I always said like Joseph Gordon-Levitt would have been perfect Mega Man, like to lead into it.
For like the 40th time, we're seeing rumors that they're getting started on a Metal Gear Solid movie.
I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that. Y'all, you barely, in today's day and age, you all barely can watch an old Tom Clancy movie. Y'all ain't gonna watch The Hunt for Red October. That's exactly what a Metal Gear movie would need to be. And it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, we're
like,
not.
We play with our phones too much.
We're getting Street Fighter again.
Look, that trailer looks dumb and it looks great at the same time.
Well, it really is leaning.
It's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, it's leaning into a very 90s aesthetic in that sort of sense too, where it's just like, you know what, this was a dumb movie back then, and it's a dumb movie now. So let's do it again and have some fun with it, right? So that's cool. Final Fantasy already had a movie. They've already done that, and
they've done like 3 of them. They've all been bad.
Yeah.
Advent Children, boring.
Bayonetta had like an animated like version of the story. Castlevania had a show.
Hey, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I got to finish season 4, and I have to watch the spin-off. But like the first season suffers from being like 4 episodes long. What can you do with it? But 2 or 3 is fine because Simon's. I think it's Simon. No, it's Trevor. Trevor is interesting into it, and they have Alucard, and that's cool. Like it's a good show because it's a 30-minute snap bite on an anime.
So let's see, Persona. Persona. I don't know. I haven't gotten into the Persona series. I'm not.
I tried 5. Remember, like 6 years ago, and I was like, "This is trash." Because you can't sell me on like 115 hours of a game.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I never bought the 3 houses.
Dragon Quest. That's a Japanese thing. And then Microsoft's not doing anything. Banjo-Kazooie, they'll never do anything with that. And then Minecraft has already had a movie. It's dumb and stupid. And then
like Jack Black is an auto channel changer for me, so he's okay in Bowser because I don't have to see his face, and he can contain himself.
And then Disney's not really going to do anything with Kingdom Hearts, so
you don't need to. You had a Ratchet and Clank film, and somehow that fell through.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank. We had an Uncharted movie. We had a Hitman. We had like 2 Hitman movies, right?
We had 2 Hitman movies. Yeah,
we had 2 Hitman movies.
Timothy, whatever his name is, the guy from Justified.
Yeah. What else?
And then you had Ray Wise, I think.
Let's see. What else do we have?
But no one wants like a Hitman movie. Like that's the thing. You're picking the wrong IPs to a degree because like, let me watch this movie about someone like killing people and then gets roped into some stuff. I understand that's not some of the games though, but you have to want people like you need connectivity, right? So you need to find out the genre or how to make it. They had the Borderlands movie because I just saw Borderlands.
Yeah, they had the Borderlands movie. All right.
And look, good for Cate Blanchett for becoming award-winning actress Cate Blanchett for like popping into it, but ain't no way.
We had a Max Payne movie.
I watched it and it was not good. Granted, there are always like 2 or 3 scenes that pop into my head. And I love the Max Payne series. Everybody knows I love the Max Payne series, and I was just like, nah.
I actually downloaded the original Max Payne.
Great game.
I have to start that. And then we had Max Payne. Let's see. We had a Need for Speed movie. That was mediocre.
Oh my God. That was like 10 years ago, right?
With Aaron Paul. Yeah.
No one wants a Need for Speed.
Yeah, we had a Need for Speed movie. We had, let's see. Man, I'm trying to think of other game series that...
You see, it's a variety show,
There was a Doom movie with The Rock in it.
There was, and he has the BFG. And it's like, look at this. Oh, we forget the one that nobody watched except for like 5 people. The Warhammer movie.
Oh, well, the Chinese watched that one, actually, Charles.
Yeah.
Not us. The Chinese were the ones that watched that one.
But, like, that's a lot of lore that is going to get condensed to some stuff, and you have to have a big imagination in order to want to like it. I didn't watch it, but I wasn't going to hate on it the way people do. It's just going to be one of those movies where you just knew no one's going to understand it except for people who make the game. So that's the thing. Do not make the movies for people who strictly, play the games, because you're not going to make money on that to a degree. You'll make some money. I don't know if you're going to break even, but you need to find a way to connect to other people. That's why the Mario movies work and get like 800 million, because there's us who played it, and we don't have children.
Dairy Queen's got the Cinnamon Toast Crunch ice cream.
Yes, I saw that. We'll talk about food progressions a little bit later on, maybe. Because
no, I've got a hockey game in the background. They got the commercial with the Fruity Pebbles and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch there.
When's the last time you had Dairy Queen?
Maybe been more than a year, I think.
All right.
Where you just feel like getting a Blizzard,
I guess I'm that person who probably hasn't had it in like 6-7 years.
Have you ever had the food from Dairy Queen?
Maybe a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I've gotten the chicken sandwich there. It was as bland as I expected.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but that's the thing though. That's like, man, that's like going to a strip club and have a stripper say that she loves you. It ain't gonna happen. You gotta know what you're going specifically for. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna go with the reality that Dairy Queen's gonna give me some ice cream. I mean, is it better than Baskin Robbins? Not to shift gears here, but like,
I might shift gears. I'm kind of done with the video game movie talk.
Yeah.
But okay, Mario Galaxy. Once again, it was a
90-minute sugar rush.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna. It's just really for Nintendo fans to kind of just be like, yeah, this is Nintendo, all right. That's it. That's really it. But yeah, continue on. Let's say So as far as our food journeys have been, as of late, I need to stop my food journey and start losing some weight. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you know me, I don't eat enough. That's why we went to Ideal Nutrition to get some food into me. It's just like, so here's my problem with ice cream, right? With Jeremiah's, with Rita's, with Baskin Robbins, and with Cold Stone. The amount that you're making me Kilwins as well, the amount that you're making me pay for it. And I always think with my stomach, but I also think with my wallet too. When it comes to food, at least, I do not discriminate. I could buy a whole damn tub. I'm not counting damn as a curse word here, because I don't know gallons or something. I'm a lawyer. I don't know. I could buy a whole damn tub for the amount they're asking me to pay for a medium or for like a large. You know what I mean? Of ice cream. And you gotta stand on some kind of principle, gang. And I understand that not every flavor is going to exist in my storefront Walmart, Publix, or Aldi's ice cream. But for $6, I can get like almost like a gallon of ice cream versus like the $10 so I can have chocolate mousse fudge sundae kind of shit, from those listed places. And I don't think they taste better. I'm saying it right now. I don't think they taste better. I think they taste the same. They are like lasagna. You can go to the Italian joint and order lasagna, or you can get the $10 or $11 Stouffer and then eat the same thing. Only a few, I believe, makes a difference. And if we're going condiment or accessory heavy, meaning sprinkles, crushed stuff, crushed Oreos, crushed nuggets, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Syrup, $2, guys, at Walmart. Maybe $1. I don't know. I feel it feels wrong. That's always my problem with it. I think people just like kind of like pissing money away when it comes to buying ice cream. I had to say it. I know there's got to be somebody else who feels me on that.
I don't eat ice cream.
Yeah, I've never heard you even like salivate over it like that.
No, but it's just because when you do have it, sometimes you just think with your eyeballs, your eyes are hungrier than your actual stomach, or you like, oh man, I'm gonna have some good ice cream right now, and then like you feel like you're gonna be able to finish it all, and you're like, okay, I'm actually gonna order a large. Yeah, I think I'll finish it all. And then like at this age, man, just things don't digest the same anymore,
But digestive enzymes, but I understand that's the other thing that people have to remember. Francisco and I are old. Andrew's like the youngin' out of the gang by like 3 years. We gotta be careful with some of the stuff that we eat, because it will be like Beethoven symphony.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Dairy Queen kind of their their treats here. We got the blizzards and the different flavors, but man, I haven't even felt compelled to be like, man, I gotta try every single one of these types of things. I always just kind of default to either getting the Oreo one or like the Royal New York cheesecake one. Those are really the only
Cheesecake's
two.
great in general.
Those are the only two that I'm like, okay, I'd be willing to get that.
Did
Maybe
I
the
send?
Keith is pretty good too, but
I'm about to translate it though, or transition this to something that's still dessert related, because I think we feel the same way about ice cream. But my other group chat, because I make other people's lives hell besides Francisco and Andrew. Even though I've been very supportive of Andrew and his sport adventures, because we are a sports show at times, guys. As variety
he still does his RCFB things. He covered some games during the bowl season last year. So
I got to see him when he was down.
Yeah.
So that was great. I saw Francisco too, both handsome men and intelligent. But it was the fact that like his magic and his lightning are still in it. So we're gonna support into that. But my other group chat, I saw something on the Twitter. And it was saying that tiramisu is a F tier dessert. And I proposed that to my group because I kind of don't disagree with it, because I feel at times when I eat tiramisu, it's not something I ever think about. It's usually because somebody else wants to order it and I have to eat it begrudgingly against my will, because that's dating life, right? And you get it, and it just kind of tastes like a edible espresso. And so I proposed it out there to my peoples, and now I bring it to you like tiramisu. I won't call it F tier because nothing's F tier. Nothing cannot be F tier, right? It's just, it makes no sense. Maybe something is F tier, but that's not F tier. But I was at least going to C tier, and then it led to a little bit of rankings. I love tier lists, and I won't belabor the point yet. I feel like I gotta get Andrew on that too, because he's had different walks of life. But then we also talked about red velvet cake, and we talked about that being overrated. And I was like, I agree, because my thing with red velvet cake is there's times where red velvet flavoring tastes better than red velvet cake on a donut, on like even like other kind of specialties itself, cookies and things of that nature. I would say red velvet is a little bit overrated, and it's in C tier.
Okay. All right. Well, as far as tiramisu, I do agree with you. It's never been my, I guess, cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever you want to call it.
Cup of Nespresso.
Cup of espresso. But I'm not a coffee guy in general.
I switched to coffee. Remind me to go into that. Go ahead,
wow. All right. Well, I haven't been seduced by the bean yet, so. But still, I've just never been a coffee guy. It's never been my thing. I don't like coffee. I can stand coffee flavored things, yes, but like it's just never. I don't get up for it. I just never got the addiction. And
so,
yeah,
the reason why we're doing coffee, and I don't like coffee because I think people who enjoy just like
have you been?
Just say this,
sorry, keep going.
They like their mouth getting burned. It's because of the fact that when I was doing the move and moving everybody.
Oh, that's true. That's also happened with it. There was a lot of life stuff happened.
I know, right? Like I couldn't dedicate time. I had invested. I was just drinking way too much energy drinks on top of my caffeine pills. So like my heart didn't give out. My heart, trust me, I take care of it because I work out so often. But I recognize that if I'm getting tired or not feeling the effects of the energy drinks to stay up during the day, and I do caffeine pills, stuff like that to avoid energy drinks, then it's probably not going to be good for me. So I switched to cold brews. You get like 2 for $7 at Publix, whatever the brand is, and I just drink them throughout the day, like the big bottle ones. I don't love Starbucks like that. I don't think they taste good. So that was my health considerations, because one day the bill is going to be due. You've heard me say that in passing, and I'm recognizing it as older as I get, where my hair's still there, my body's in shape, except for my joints and stuff, which is expected because I just won't stop trying to blow up my sphincter, as you say.
Yep.
But I was like, all right, we'll just do this then, and then build on to it. So yeah, that was the coffee. I still eat my sweets and desserts, so this is relevant to our combo now. From it, but yeah, red velvet cake. Yeah, maybe you can sell me on it at times, but if I'm gonna invest and I'm simple too. Maybe I'm a basic bitch, 5, but also I'm a Tres Leches fan, and I think we all agree that's S tier. I think we just know. We just understand.
Sorry, I came a little bit.
Yeah. We just know that's the big dog right there.
Yes. There's Cuatros Leches, but no. The Cuatro, no, that's because it has caramel and all that stuff in it. It's not really my thing.
Andrew was the one that couldn't get the Tres Leches, I think, right? Like I remember just a conversation, he didn't see the hype, or maybe I have to go back.
I don't know, man. I don't know where he had his. Because like Publix sells Tres Leches, so I don't know if he had
even that's still kind
of it's still solid. I haven't had a bad Tres Leches in my life. Remember, there was literally a place called Tres Leches Factory where I worked in Miami, like right down the road, and that was like I only went there once, actually twice. I've only been there twice. The fact that I only went there twice is a massive testament of my will, because I would have gone every day, because that's heaven right there. No, Tres Leches is literally the best dessert of all time for me. It doesn't, you can't beat it. It doesn't compare to everything. It has everything that you would want. Like if you're lactose intolerant, I'm sorry that you. I mean,
but
take some pills.
Intolerant people still
take
eat
some
it anyway.
pills. Yeah, take some pills. All right, you won't fart out as much, with that. So, but still, it just has. You can have it with or without the icing on there. Some places that make it really good, they make sure that the icing doesn't overtake the actual taste of the milk itself. Because sometimes there's some places where they put a little too much sugar in that icing and it overpowers. Like no, that has to be a little bit more mild, because the real star of the show is the liquid.
Yeah, once you get into that little bit that creme, right, that comes into it, you're like, we're in.
And it just becomes gruel at the end, and it's just fantastic. It's amazing.
So, because this is the thing, this argument propelled. We're attacking some Spanish national flavors here in postres.
Mm-hmm.
Topic of flan. Flan's also C tier. We just hyped up flan for
the
a
Cubans
long
hyped up
time.
flan.
Yeah. Well, how many we've had that discussion.
Just like people hyped up Christian Mendoza. There we go. Because there's nobody else in this draft.
Yeah, it's just there. Fernando Mendoza.
Oh, whatever. He's Christian. He's super Christian, actually.
Yeah,
incredibly
super. Him and Kirk Cousins going to change Sin City into Saint City, right? That's what everybody goes on. But I think like flan's just there, right? And I can respect it, but like my sister's mother-in-law always has it for like the big events and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then there's my sister who just knows me, who's like, here's some donuts, here's some cheesecake. I love cheesecake. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, well, I'll save the flan for last, and go from that. But desserts make the world go around too, because you can feel naughty when you eat them. But it's also that thing. There's times what I love about desserts is they can also kind of be breakfast as well. When you think about it, a pie.
Yeah, when we got birthday cake for breakfast, of course. Leftover birthday cake, so
it's my damn birthday where I get the leftovers, sure.
Yeah, just had a bunch of birthday cake over the last few days or so, because my niece's birthday happened, and we had this fantastic Nicaraguan birthday cake, which the reason I love that is because the actual cake itself is very flaky in that sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't solidify nor feel like it's been over processed like Publix cake. Like Publix cake is fine, okay.
The only they're like, if you gotta get their ice cream cake, they're okay.
Yes, the ice cream cake's fine, but Publix cake is just fine.
They have an okay chantilly cake.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have to, or rose cake, whatever they call it. I think you'll know when I say it's like a buttercream cake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it's serviceable.
Yeah, so Nicaraguan cake is really good. I was talking about the red velvet thing. I love red velvet cake. I like red velvet pretty much anything, actually.
But that's the thing. I felt like the flavoring of red velvet and other stuff, cookies, donuts, and whatever, transcends it because it's so novelty.
Back in Miami, Did you ever visit this place called Big Pink?
No.
So it's Miami Beach. Just a restaurant. They're pretty famous. I'm showing it up on the.
How do you call it Big Pink and then you leave it for like a dessert place, not a strip club?
I have it on the big screen there, and I'm sharing my screen with you
looks
now.
good. Yeah, it looks good.
So they have these giant cakes that are, look how big and thick those are. But and you can buy actually the whole freaking cake, and it'll cost you a pretty penny, or you can just when you're at the restaurant itself. It's very Americana type of restaurant. But I don't know. That cake is fantastic. I've always loved it. That's probably the best red velvet cake I've ever had.
Maybe that's the issue, is that anytime I've had red velvet, it's really more be like
like Publix sells one too.
Mass production as opposed to a
restaurant quality
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, this one
it's like a restaurant quality. I've never found a place that says specifically red velvet.
Right? Yeah, that place is good. I do recommend it if you're going down to Miami Beach. Just to have some good desserts, some very good, American style food as well. So it's across the street from like a nightclub and stuff like that down there in Miami Beach. But I've been there a few times. It's pretty good. So makes me miss Miami. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So we are at 42 minutes now, Charles. So we started pretty late. We had a bit of a snafu there for a tiny bit when my program crashed here. But where do you want the conversation to go from here? Because
I think we could do a word from the non-sponsors.
Yeah, we could have several. We could stop and do this several times actually during this show.
That requires us having to remember, right?
Because
the thing is, just because we were off line for about 9 months doesn't mean we didn't keep on getting on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that might be. I guess we'll just do a larger segment of non-sponsors, like what was the things that you've been doing in the last 8 months, and then we'll end it with like sports, I think, or gaming. I guess I don't know if it's too late to talk about certain stuff, but we know how to break this. We're professionals.
Haven't really touched on sports much yet, anyways, but we'll get to that eventually. Plus, Andrew's not here for some of that too. But all right, I'll start with mine just to start here. Because this was something that I got into for quite a bit now, and I can kind of see how people can kind of go through waves of this. But I'm going to non-sponsor right now Oasis for Windows Mixed Reality mod here for the Oasis driver for Steam. Okay, because it actually unlocked the potential for a lot of people to do VR, virtual reality, on their PCs on the cheap. Okay? And that's the reason why I am non-sponsoring this. Because, Charles, I've been on the fence for VR for quite a bit now. I've always had the intention to do it because ever since the Wii, I love the Wii. That's my favorite video game console of all time. I love the motion controls. I couldn't get enough of motion control gaming. The fact that it basically didn't see much life outside of the Wii U past that. Like, we still have it, like the PS5 controller, the Switch, and Switch 2 have some stuff with, but it's not the same. It's not on that same level. And then VR just started to kind of get slightly better and better year by year to a point where now it's okay, right?
Yeah, and it's incomplete. Yeah,
it's incomplete still. We're still working out a lot of the kinks, but I think we finally have a standard for VR with regards to how they should look, how they should control in some aspects, and we're still figuring it out because we still haven't had the great VR game that's basically be like everybody's got to stop and buy that like it's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas or Super Mario 64. Like, we haven't had that yet. But we're close. I think we're getting close there. But this allows for Windows Mixed Reality to be reused again for your PC. So what happens is that Windows Mixed Reality was Microsoft's version of integrating VR. And so they had different headsets that were compatible with that, right? and you could use them for Steam and everything else as well if you wanted to have it on your PC. The wired VR, because the Meta Quest stuff, that's all Facebook, and that's all their own thing. And you can hook it up to a computer, but they really want you to use their stuff and for Mark Zuckerberg to steal all your identity, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas this was Microsoft's thing, and then I think like in 2024, Microsoft pulled the plug on it, because of course they did, because that's what they do too, as well, along with Google. So a lot of people bought these VR headsets that are basically just trash now. They're sitting there, they're perfectly good, they work, but they cannot use them. Then this guy that literally works at Microsoft, just took it upon himself to do it on his own and create a driver that would be able to unlock all of these headsets so you could use it with Windows again. And so when I saw this happen, I don't know, I just saw it on Twitter and it just kind of followed it from there. I saw, I could get a pretty cheap headset for like $100 or so and kind of just dip my toes into VR, because everything else out there is at least $300, Charles, at least.
Yeah.
And that was before all of the, the shortages, before the inflation, right? Before the tariffs. It was 300 and up. And if you wanted anything actually good, you probably had to pay like $1,000 at least.
Gaming is an expensive hobby. It's just like Magic the Gathering.
So I bought a Samsung headset, and I researched which one was like the best out of all of them to be okay. And like the Samsung headset had an OLED screen, which was like, okay, I want that, right? Because Charles is the number one proponent of OLED.
The blackest of blacks, the whitest of whites.
So I was looking for something like that, because everything else was kind of like an LCD screen or LED screen, and just there's plenty of websites out there that can kind of tell you what is good for what and what your price range is. So I bought something off of Goodwill as well, which was also a gamble, but apparently what I bought seemed like it just somebody found it.
Well. Oh, we gotta interrupt that real quick. You're the only one who has luck with Goodwill.
Oh yeah, that's right. Andrew went through a whole journey over that. I'll get to that actually after this, but so I bought it off Goodwill. It seemed like it just fell off the back of a truck and someone just gave it to Goodwill, because that thing was pristine. Okay, came with the controllers, the power, everything else. Hooked it up, put on this program, and it just worked. Okay.
It was not owned by a 10-year-old.
It just, no, it did not. It wasn't dropped. It just worked. And I'm like, oh, okay. And there's a lot of little free to play stuff that you can kind of dip your toes into. That's, Valve came out with and all that stuff. Okay, cool. Let's go. All right, Lord Gaben, I see what you're doing here. But then like I started getting, I'm like, okay, I actually want to buy a game. And I bought Job Simulator, because that's always one of those games that you see on YouTube and people playing. It looks fun, and it was fun. I'm like, all right, let's keep going. Bought Batman Arkham VR, okay, which is fun for like a couple hours, for however much you can get that as a prequel to Arkham Knight, actually. So there's that. There was I bought Serious Sam, the trilogy. So yeah, Serious Sam is like in that era of like Duke Nukem, just a bombastic character, right? And just a dumb game. I had it on my PC a long time ago on like a CD, and it's just a really stupid game where you just time travel back to ancient Egypt and fight aliens and monsters. And I played it in VR. I'd beaten it a long time ago. I'm like, and it was just a fun experience. I had so much fun with it, and I can't wait to play the second and third one actually. And then the pinnacle of all this, Charles, was I finally was able to play Half-Life 2. Mm-hmm. I hadn't. We all know the legacy of Half-Life 2. It's one of the seminal games out there, right? For a gaming resume. Like if you consider yourself a video game player and you you want to say I'm a well-rounded person and I've dabbled in the classics, you have to play Half-Life 2. And I'd never done it. I've had this PC uh, uh, since I've had a gaming PC since 2020, and throughout all of that time frame, didn't play Half-Life 2. I played Half-Life 1, got through that, but then Half-Life 2 I just hadn't gotten to. But then I saw there was a VR mod for it, and I'm like, and then Lord Gaben blessed us by giving it to me for free.
Mm-hmm. You've been getting a lot of stuff for free lately.
Well, it's called Franciscoing, where you kind of just wait for things to happen after a long time, and eventually you'll get it, right? So,
yeah, that's fair.
That's just what I'm doing. Is just I'm just waiting a long time. I'm like, I don't really need it right now, and then 5 years later, I finally get the game. So, Half-Life 2, fantastic. Started playing it, and it is an experience because it's a story driven game, right? And it has a lot of great physics and animation and just the gameplay alone is top tier. Every level is designed with care and purpose, and all of that with you being the main character and actually doing all the moves and having fun. It was great. I finished it at the end of last year. I finished the 2 episodes at the beginning of this year in January, and I'm like, I did it. I finally played Half-Life 2. I see what the hype is about, why everybody's, being injected with hope, hoping that Half-Life 3 is around the corner, right? Looking at pictures of Hideo Kojima visiting Valve Studio and hoping that he's giving us, subtle clues that a third one is coming in. And I bought Half-Life Alyx, actually, when it was on sale. And I've yet to play it now, Charles, but apparently that's the, Valve's, Wii Sports of VR, right? That's the one that they want to put out there.
I don't even think that. I think that they're saying that is the perennial.
Yeah.
That is the thing that makes VR
the Mario 64 of whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Because, they also didn't just make a lot of games themselves for VR that was fully complete. The only one being that I can think of was Alyx and then Resident Evil 4. Not the remake, but the OG.
Yeah. So I went through an entire journey, and I'll say this, VR, I guess it is not for everybody. I guess some people physically cannot do VR because their brains and their mind just can't handle it because their body just thinks that they're moving, then they throw up and everything like that. But I got used to it fairly quickly, and but it is tiring, right? You can, I played Half-Life 2. I would play it for an hour or two straight without stopping, and then it's like, whoa. I had to kind of get my bearings once I took off the headset. So I went through a wave of that. After I had beaten it, it was just kind of I had this just kind of this down period where I'm just like, that's enough of that. Okay, that's enough of that type of gaming. But it is super fun, and I think Oasis VR, if you're out there and you are just still on the fence, there's a ton of just old VR equipment out there that you can get on Goodwill or on eBay for pretty cheap. I bought a second headset because I gave the Samsung one to my sister for her kids over there to play on their gaming PCs, and I bought a different one called an HP Reverb G2 just because it has a higher resolution. Because that's really the name of the game now, is that VR screen needs to have some good high resolution imagery. Because if not, it's like you might as well play N64.
Yeah, that's gonna be awful.
Yeah. So mine is I think it has I think it has a 2K display.
That's fair.
So, but split up, it's basically just 1080p, which is fine. I don't mind that, right? And 90 frames per second, and has this amazing sound quality. because of the way they do sound on it. It's not actual headset. It's lifted just like maybe like half, like just a few centimeters away from your ear, so it's not on top of it. So it feels like it's not even there. So you can't really tell what's real and what's not when it comes to the audio, especially if the audio quality is that good.
Have
Uh,
you accidentally hit anything?
uh, yeah, you kind of course, you do get to moments where you do accidentally hit some stuff, but at least the Steam VR has this like virtual fence that'll pop up, just like in blue, that'll just start glowing when you start getting close to something, because you have to lay out your playing space, and it'll create this virtual fence so that you know you're getting close to like smacking your TV or something like that. So, um, but I have gotten to moments where I just like I forgot the orientation of where I was in time and space. But that was my thing. That was my big thing for about like 2 months actually, was just VR and just trying to play as much as possible. I still have a few VR games that I have in the backlog that I'm starting to kind of dabble again. I downloaded Half-Life 1 VR just to see what
Interesting.
that was like a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I already played with Half-Life 1 already, but I just wanted to kind of get back into the flow of it. I'm like, okay, because I'm thinking, Charles, after I finish Death Stranding 2,
Hmm.
which honestly, the last time we were on this show, you reviewed. That's how long ago this was. Um, but in any case, after I finish Death Stranding 2, I think I might just go for Alex. So, yeah. So Oasis VR, promo code. Man, dog poop. Because the worst thing that happened, yes, you are people. You can legitimately get robbed while you're playing this stuff because you are so into the world and you don't hear anything. Because my dog had actually come into my room while I was playing and pooped on the floor, just like all over the place. And I didn't realize it was what was going on. I was playing Half-Life 2. This was like at like 12 midnight, and I just started smelling something. I thought like my PC was starting like to get on fire, because it smelled like a burnt smell. At first I'm
Yeah,
like, oh shit, I've been playing this one. Oh shit, two. I've been playing this for like 3 hours straight. The PC probably just can't handle it anymore. I have to check my cooling system, and then I take off, and my dog's just all over the place, and I gotta. It was a mess. It was a mess. So there you go.
that's hilarious. To ask me what I've been like the big ups in like 9 months worth is kind of tough because my brain is fried, right? I had a lot of transition within the last couple of months in a positive way. Obviously the last 9 months itself, and I won't go gaming because I know we're gonna, I haven't gamed as much, but I still gamed enough, from the 9 month span because we can talk about Switch 2 all day, right? PS5 games. But what I'll do is I'll kind of like highlight a place that I've eaten multiple times at because I think it's just like a decent deal. So I guess and recency bias comes into play a lot, but this is the one that only came into my mind if I had to say, hey, throughout that span of time, this is where I've been at, and that's been Bandoleros tacos,
Hmm.
and it's just because of the fact of what it gives you on like a Friday or Saturday night by me, and it it has like on Fridays and Saturdays they'll do all you can eat tacos for like $20,
All
but they
right.
have
Which
good
one? Oakland Park, Fort Lauderdale.
uh Lauderdale, do the Lauderdale one.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
because they're all under the same umbrella
Yeah. Same
of what they
website. Here we
play
go.
out.
I got it here.
But there's specials that they have, and then they'll do like $6 margaritas as well. And I've scaled back on my party going because everything's so expensive, guys.
Hmm.
It is ridiculous for you to
All
pay
you can eat
like
tacos for 20
yeah,
bucks every Tuesday, Friday,
yeah,
Saturday. Okay.
yeah. I know I'm doing Cinco de Mayo, but it's ridiculous to kind of pay the price for certain kind of liquors for $18 for crappy made stuff, whereas you're getting like $6 margaritas. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, that's fine. But they also make an excellent California burrito, Francisco, that for like $20. And for those who've never had a California burrito, it's like your typical burrito, but in it's gonna have like the French fries, and then everything else in the fixin' in there, and it just tastes good. It's a lot of fun. It's a good vibe. Get a few drinks in me. I'll sing karaoke. I don't care. I've done it. And they have birria chicken tacos, which are really good. And birria itself is fine, but if the meat, like the beef they have, could be kind of like chewy, not from here. And I've gone there probably 3, 4, maybe 5 times. And of course, me, I'm Mr. Sociable. So I'm at the bar, I'm chilling, wearing my food. I see one guy who's looking at his phone on Twitter. What's up, Landon? Cool, bro. Going through wrestling Twitter. And he's from New York too. So we're just beefing up. I'm like, is that Randy Orton? He's like, yeah, it's Randy Orton. So we just be talking. And it feels welcoming. It feels like home to a degree. And the food's really good. And I cannot understate, like, mind you, the all-you-can-eat tacos is like you're getting 2 tacos coming out each time. But if you're being responsible, you should eat a lot. You should eat a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The quesadillas are good too for the appetizers. I haven't had the elote yet. I had their I think it was the tequeños, and those were pretty stellar. And so it's just like, it's a good time. I always think with my stomach, it's weird. I'll Charles as much as I can on video games. Won't catch me lacking. But when it comes to food, as long as it's good, I'm going to eat that. I'm going to eat that. And in my adventures as well with the new job, because, I've been on the road once or twice
here.
every day. Oh, I haven't had the churros too. So I'm always... Yeah, that could be dangerous. I'm always looking for like a good place to eat that I think is worth my time. Because when I was in Clearwater last week, a couple weeks ago, I was in Collier County in Naples. Shout out to Lulu's Kitchen. That was a damn good Cuban. You have these like fun places, but here it's like, okay, if I have my free time and I want to go out, I want to go do things, I'm hit up Bandoleros. So that's gonna be my non-sponsor. What comes to mind from like the last 8-9 months. Good stuff, solid stuff. Promo code, tacos. Make it real simple.
Yeah, it looks good. Definitely looks good. Oh man.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I haven't found a good taco place since I moved into the St. Lucie County area. I'm still searching though.
Yeah, that's another thing. You had the big move, and so you kind of had to kind of reset.
Finding a new barber is always tough too, and then I gotta find dry cleaners. But I think I found a barber. I think they might be sufficient. They didn't mess my stuff up by scalping my head, because it's very tough when I say don't touch anything on the top, take out the sides and the back, because it's the way I style my hair. But granted, I'm remote, so I don't have to be as flamboyant with my hairstyle anymore, even though I'm in person half the time. But yeah, moves are weird, man, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. Change is fun. That's been my mantra for the last 9 months. It's like change is gonna come, and I'll take it.
Yeah. All right, so we are an hour and 4 minutes in right now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is a sports show.
Sports show. There's a lot to say, but it's a sports show.
Man, a lot has happened, really. Football happened. A whole season went by. College football season went by.
Does it make you laugh that you literally had the Super Bowl end 2 months ago, but all we care about is Mike Vrabel and just applauding him for coming back? So strong, Mike. So strong, Mike. Good on you. And look, I don't want to propel that gossip, but it's just funny that.
Well, you have a personal connection because he was the Titans head coach. So.
I hate him so much. Well, because of the fact that I was trying to make people see it the way I saw it, but I really don't care if him and Diana Rossini were to see each other or not. I just think there's hypocrisy of either we just say we want to crap on people and say he was cheating, they were doing this, they were doing that. I'm like, we're in 2026. There's a very broad, open interpretation of what relationships ought to be. That's a conversation him and his family's going to have. But it because I saw on Twitter, I sent it to you, where he went to go to the season holder tickets or whatever, and then they're applauding him for what? Was anybody applauding? What was it? The former Colts coach when he was coming back from cancer, right? Chuck Pagano.
Oh,
You know,
mhm.
maybe, maybe not, but we forget about that. But we're gonna applaud him for going to a day of counseling and therapy
Yeah.
for
After getting
anything.
his
I'm
dick
like,
sucked, allegedly.
yeah, but it's just
It's
it
great.
also because it had to be the Patriots because it also reminded me of Robert Kraft, who, if you guys really want opinions, and I'm trying to keep it in line with the profession here, is that Robert Kraft was part of a sex ring. They had to suppress evidence because it was not properly obtained, not illegally. Illegally is a very like fire starter word, right? Even though lawyers would be like, "Oh, it was illegal." I'm like, no, there's evidence of him getting and participating, and assistance in some capacity of fashion, but like, oh, we're just gonna go over there, but we're just gonna cover it up, right? Or we're just gonna ignore it. But the way we're treating it, like he's a martyr, Vrabel, like he's a martyr, and I feel bad for Rossini too, because she's getting flipped up on some stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
not a journalist, you and Andrew are. I'm just a hater, and I just hate the fact that that's the first instinct. He's your coach. He's gonna remain your coach. It's gonna be fine, but it's kind of embarrassing for him to be pseudo hypocritical for calling Stephon Diggs a
Oh. Oh yeah.
distraction.
Oh yeah.
And then Stephon Diggs was a player who was just trying to show that he can still do it. Whereas the Patriot way, when it came to football, has always been the coach is the end all be all. It was like that with Belichick. And then with what Mayo, he had all of 1 week to decide and be that. But it always comes between him and Kraft. No one's bigger than those two. And we're going to applaud and we're gonna plot. And the memes have been great. And then you get like Dave Portnoy, who was telling people to say it's instead of by putting a picture of Mike Vrabel and then the alleged J.P. Morgan executive, and the same thing that he's resigning from the
Yeah, it's a new
Patriots to
thing.
go
Yeah.
work over there. But I just think it's the point of it is that I think it's just silly that that is your natural inclination. Instead of Joan of Arc in the guy, is to say that he's a martyr. But that's modern day America, right? If they do something that we wish we could do, but we don't have the capability, the funds, or the love of others to do those things, hint, hint, maybe a president paying with a porn star to have sex with them, we're just going to revere you and support you in that, right? Not to get political in the show, but this is just a common observations I see. Also, because I'm a hater, and my friend Mike Vrabel, very much like a certain manager is no longer in Boston. Maybe they weren't good actually, and they got lucky. But continue, Francisco. That's just my little piece I had to interrupt on.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah. I
hater,
mean, sheesh, a lot has happened. I mean, as far as journey through my teams, of course, the Florida Panthers didn't make the playoffs. Quite an interesting journey throughout the 2025-26 season.
we went to many games this year. If we're gonna talk about Panthers real quick,
Yeah,
I went to like
we
3.
went to
We saw the Winter Classic together.
we went to one very significant game, which was the Winter Classic. So that was an experience. And Andrew also went to the Tampa outdoor game. So that we did participate and engage in our sports teams. I did not watch a single Miami Heat game in person this year.
I didn't either.
And I tried, Charles. I really did try at the beginning of this year. Like, I made it. I had to announce that I was watching basketball.
It's not for everybody. It was a very rough season. But hey, Bam got 83 points, so.
Yes. Oh man, and of course,
If anything, it
conversation.
vindicates. If you remember a couple years ago, about 4 years ago, when I said, "Hey, Bam's not the problem. We know what kind of player he is, and we have to just accept his ceiling, but he'll be okay at that ceiling because he will be touching the ceiling of his ceiling."
Yeah. Yeah. The Bam game happened. 83 points, and all the silly conversations with regards to the ethical implications of that game. I've never seen that being used as a term.
So it always goes to what I've been saying the last 5 years, that the NBA has blacklisted all of them. Media, executives, owners have blacklisted the Heat from even having a crumb at the table in every capacity. One, because they hate the Big Three era that we created, which wasn't even us. Boston did a year before, just saying, or a couple years before. 4 years. Yeah, it's been, we're old, man, so it takes a minute. And listen, the Big Three thing's illusory because they were doing that in the Lakers dynasty. They were doing that with the Bulls. They always had somebody, but they hate us for that. And then they hate the fact that we had a team that was the scrappy Jimmy Butler and the draft guys who were like 13, 14 undrafted going to the finals. It's always us. And then they're saying it's ethical. No, it does. There is the ethical thing is playing the game, not taking yourself out of the game because you have an over under. Looking at you, Terry Rozier. Yeah. Yeah. So don't speak to me about ethics. Y'all hate so much, defend better. Y'all hate so much, play better. Y'all know so much, beat us even though our guy drops 83. I understand it was the Wizards. But it really, and I'm not super confrontational when it comes to other team bases. Really, I'm not. Even with the Red Sox fans, I'm not. But everybody who was going on to the whole, like, it's unethical 83, I'm like, this isn't war crimes. We're not speaking about genocide. Yeah, right? Oh, well, we want to really talk about ethical.
Kobe
we were
fans are I think the worst out there.
Kobe wasn't even that good. I'll say it. I don't care.
Yeah,
I know that's inflammatory.
I get it.
Falsity, but still.
Yeah, if he.
It's a different time, and we like
it's a different time and things like that. And it was very obvious he couldn't do it by himself, but no player can, right? But
that's the thing. We act as if Mike and Kobe did it all solo, and it's just baffling because it never got to it. And that's not. But that's the problem. That's not even the argument. But that's where their arguments took you.
Yeah.
That is where their arguments took you, where they came back to Jordan and they came back to Kobe. And then you had some stuff on Twitter that was great because we're talking about really on the ethics. We were not the ones getting sued. We're having criminal charges over in Colorado with Bam.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because you're fighting over second place. And no one wanted to relent that because that is kind of the problem of following of the times. But even some people were defending the Kobe stuff. I'm like, y'all got him on the bad years. You and I had him at least on the very good to great years. And listen, maybe I'll recant my statement to saying Kobe was not that good. Maybe he was not that great of a human being. But as a basketball player, we know it was top tier. But they made it big, and they just couldn't bask in the moment that they got to see someone drop 83 points.
Yeah, I think that was the thing that I think Dan Levitard even alluded to, with just that we don't really get to enjoy feats, or at least a lot of people don't really see it as an enjoyment of a feat, because I guess
it's not their guy.
Yeah, it's not their
guy.
Not the guy.
They wanted SGA to do it.
Yeah, and
they needed, other young upstarts.
That, or they're just like, oh, let's just leave it at Kobe, and like nobody knew if Will actually got 100 points because there's no actual footage of the 100-point game. Yeah. But look, Bam Adebayo's number 2. I don't care if he had 43 free throws to get there. If
someone had to foul him.
Yeah, if the Wizards just kept hacking at him, then that's fine.
Guys, he's not a point guard who purposely goes to the line every time acting as if he got hit. Looking at you, SGA. And I like Shai. I do. And then Harden, as well. Like, look, if they're good at shooting free throws, they go free throws. But you want to talk about ethical. It was an ethical game being played for him in an unethical season. When guys are going to the line 10 to 12 times a game and buffering their stats, like the guy's a power forward. You're getting fouled most of the time. What are we doing here? But the point is that it was a great experience to have in a iffy and crappy season. And it makes perfect sense that he would get the 83 and then not be able to get to the playoffs, aside from the play-in.
Yeah, and I think Kobe's...
And it was just one of those things where they were a good team this year, too. It's just they lost a few games that,
they had a winning record. They were 42-40, so...
They were like the only 10 seed who were like 4 games above the 500. And that also goes to show my opinion that I hate the play-in.
Plan, yeah. I mean, Andrew's team is benefiting from it right now, but as you guys alluded or said, they just kind of landed at the spot they would have been at, so it doesn't really matter. The NBA is just kind of, I don't know.
It's hard to watch.
Hard right now.
And hard to kind of care about.
It's not for me. I'm not jumping on the same train. Everybody's saying right now that the NBA is hard to watch and tanking is a problem, and the play-in is I thought the playing games were fine. Actually, they were actually pretty exciting in the sort of sense like, um, kind of akin to when baseball had the wild card solo game where it was win and you're in. Uh,
Hmm.
so it does have that era of actual, uh, of what's the word I'm
Die
looking for?
Hard.
No, like of actual tense and stakes. There were stakes there, right?
Yeah.
Actual stakes were present, and the players that were actually playing in it played like they cared about it. So that's one of the things that does draw you to watch basketball, and that's kind of the criticism of the regular season is that there's a lack of effort from a lot of teams just because of either how talented they are or how untalented they are, and that's hard to get out of there. Like the NBA, I think eventually, as will figure it out, because they have to at some point. I think the NBA is probably going to be way more open to experiment compared to other leagues. Because the NHL is kind of set where they're at. They could probably change their playoff format a little bit so that we don't have essentially what should be the conference final game in the first round.
Yeah.
Um, because that's what has been happening for a while now. We've had a lot of great series in this first round in the NHL in the Stanley Cup playoffs that probably should have been a conference final. Right? We got a Dallas versus Minnesota game that's going on right now. It's a 3-2 Minnesota lead right now, but that is those two teams finished 1, 2, and 3. If you had to go through a 1 through 8 alignment instead of what we have now with the division split ups. But for basketball, I really did try. There were moments like I could get into a game if I actually sat down and watched it, and this Heat team did have moments, right? They had moments where I think we set the franchise record a few times of most
Yep.
points in a
They were
single
they were
game.
modernizing themselves a bit.
Yeah, so it was interesting in that sense too to watch the Heat play and Spoelstra coach in that way, but the regular season just wasn't compelling enough. The races weren't compelling enough for me to get in there, even with the Miami Heat
You
being
knew
in
where it
this
was
play-in
going too.
race. Hmm?
I feel like you knew where it was going too.
Yeah, the Heat going to the playing game because they were just so inconsistent. Especially they could never get on any sort of winning streak whatsoever. It just they really
Too
couldn't
many
get
guys
anything
got
going.
hurt too.
Yeah,
Tyler was still hurt. Norman
Yeah.
Powell, who thanks but no thanks is my feeling on him.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need you to come back next year. You know, the contract year at 32 because the injuries are going to come and get you,
Yeah.
unless it's a reasonable price. But nothing's reasonable price. So we talk about like tanking, and this is just my only summarization of the NBA because we're going to have more time because the postseason is really
Playoffs,
just
yeah.
ending the first round.
Especially if the
postseason.
Magic keep moving forward, and I really
Yeah.
do want Andrew
Yeah.
to have his moment with the Magic because I don't think
I
he
mean,
has.
they've been close but no cigar for so long.
Yeah.
You
So
know, they always ran into a beast. At some
I feel
point
like
with
when
the
when the Magic got into the final back in 2010, a long time ago, just Andrew was
maybe
younger. Yeah, he just couldn't really savor that. I think he was like in high school probably when that happened.
Yeah.
I
I mean, if I was 20,
yeah,
or 18 or 19, you know, he was probably high school. Yeah.
yeah. So he hasn't had an adult moment with the Orlando Magic, whereas like I've had my moment with the Panthers already. The Dolphins will never give me my moment. I know that.
Yeah.
And that happened over the course of this as well. Oh man,
So much.
Oh, a lot has happened. We're an hour and 28
Well,
minutes
let's
into this.
do rundowns after we finish the thought on basketball.
Yeah. So I really did try and follow whatever storylines I could with the NBA. You know, LeBron trying to get one more last hurrah out there, and I felt like LeBron was more. I don't know. I kind of
vulnerable.
now that he's actually breaking down physically.
Yeah.
I'm relating to him more than anything else, and I'm really on his side now. And I still like him for the Heat years as well, so I'm not gonna disparage LeBron James. He really actually that Heat team got me through some times, but I really am. I'm not minding if LeBron finds a way to get the Lakers somewhere. But in any case, I don't find much compelling aside from that in the NBA right now. Um, you know,
Yeah.
all I'm banking on is can the Magic do something, because that'll make it interesting for me than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much my sum up. I was always up to date with what was going on to the Heat, begrudgingly, but I had to, right? It's just you got to. And I I like and I still love LeBron. So, I always thought he was just a great addition to the sport of basketball itself since he got drafted. And I just like to him to kind of go through and just kind of like, hey, I still want the best kind of thing, even at this age with Luka out and then Austin Reeves out. But truly, we both kind of feel like it's going to be Boston's game and Oklahoma's game, and that's okay. It's just it's too early to a degree to care about it, even though we're in postseason. It's so weird because we're just kind of cutting the fat out, right?
Mm.
That's what happens when you do these play-ins. It's just like we're saying we're ready to start, and even though you might have started to a degree, we don't feel complete. But that was just my thoughts on basketball.
All right, so man, so let's get into football a bit. I did talk about hockey a little bit, and Andrew's team is also still in that with the Lightning in the Stanley Cup playoffs right now, round one against the Montreal Canadiens. The series is tied right now, headed I think back to Montreal, or no, actually no, headed back to Tampa actually.
He does not want to have a Canadian team be the reason his team losing, the reason why a Canadian team advances.
I know, but as a Panthers
It'd be
fan,
funny.
I'm hoping I already have the tweet ready to go for it too. Because I just need Montreal. Montreal could have swept the series by now, but that's fine. That's fine. They're still young, and they're gonna learn, and they're gonna figure it out. And the best story in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far is the Buffalo Sabres, because they
Yeah.
came out of nowhere. They haven't been good in 15 years, and now they just suddenly became good. I think they probably just someone had to fill the vacuum because the Panthers were not in this at all. And out of nowhere, the Buffalo Sabres, I wouldn't say out of nowhere. That team has been building up for quite a while, and they've had good players. The Buffalo Sabres, unlike other teams out there, they've drafted really good players for a long time. They kind of felt like the Montreal Expos, where there's just like, man, just amazing talent after talent after talent. They just couldn't put it together. That Sam Reinhart and Jack Eichel and Brandon Montour and just, I mean, jeez, I think half of the Panthers 2024 Cup team were former Buffalo Sabres. But this season, it just, they put it together finally. Lindy Ruff, who's actually a really good coach, previously took them to the Cup final way back in the 90s and 98. Uh, or 99 actually, right? Yeah, 99. He they're finally playing as a unit. They're playing a very familiar style of hockey akin to the Panthers, because that's just the way a lot of teams are winning, and that's just the way it goes right now. But skill team, and actual good goaltending for the first time in a long time for them as well, because they've been missing that sorely. As you can see, even an amazing team like the Edmonton Oilers, with all the talent that they have, if they don't have goaltending, man, I don't know how they're even going to do it. And they're facing that right now. The Oilers could lose in the first round.
Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. Connor
and-
McJesus takes that 2-year extension.
yeah, and this is year one of that 2 years. So they traded Stuart Skinner, who got them to the final the last two seasons, but just was never good enough for anybody. And look, Stuart Skinner had his moments, but he also had his good moments for the Oilers. They don't get there as far without him as well. Calvin Pickard did well for them too. Just that they just couldn't grind it out against the Panthers, and Bobrovsky was better. But the Sabres finally getting that goaltending. Consensus pick, I think I still feel like the Carolina Hurricanes still, I think they have to find a way to break through. I actually do believe in them this year,
Yeah.
because
Brother, it
they've
feels
been
like Go ahead. I'm sorry.
because the Panthers aren't there. That's been their boogeyman
Mhm.
for the last few years. It's just been the Panthers, and they're not there. And the same thing with Tampa, but I still think Montreal is hanging with them right now, and I think they're vulnerable enough. And Buffalo is just riding this high right now that might spur them enough just based on hype alone. I don't know if you've been seeing the Blade Gang that's on Twitter. Those guys
Yeah.
from Buffalo just in rollerblades, just going all over the place in Boston and Buffalo right now. It is legitimately. I'm very happy for Buffalo fans. Yeah, there's some trash talk during the season. That's fine, but I genuinely
People
hope
got
they do
trash
well.
talk.
Yeah, I genuinely hope they do well. Um, and I've said it. Anybody but Tampa right now. I am willing to take the Montreal Canadiens or even the Edmonton Oilers winning it all this year. I because I really can't. I put too much Twitter stock on trashing the Lightning throughout, and I've got my tweet ready. I'm even if they got eliminated in Game 7 in quadruple overtime in the Cup final, I need it. I need
That
it.
and Andrew, y'all don't know Andrew like this. He's a sweetheart to you guys in the show. It becomes
Personal.
his entire personality.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
for 365
yeah, because
days.
it has been. They have been his best team of all his fandoms.
The team he connects the most with.
More than UCF in terms of success. Now, Andrew bleeds gold and black more than anybody on this planet in actuality. But that Lightning team has given him a lot more, and he puts a lot of personal
understands
stuff.
He appreciates it.
Yeah,
He'll,
I think that outdoor game is what changed him more than
not even just that. But once he got like the professional paycheck, the first thing he did was, did he say, "I'm gonna go get UCF gear"? No. Did he say, "I'm gonna get Magic gear"? Am I gonna get Rays gear? No, he's like, "I'm gonna get the retroactive Tampa stuff." He went out. Yeah, and that's good fandom because he was with them when they were not so good and they were building that process. And as a bystander, watching him and you kind of go at it for like the last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
And then him seeing the fall of greatness.
He
and then trying not to acknowledge your greatness either, right? I can't say artfully, but I like the Panthers, right?
He doesn't understand, like, because he thinks I'm rational as a Panthers fan.
You're a psychopath.
I am not. Brandon Hagel is Joseph Stalin. He is Saddam Hussein. He is Muammar Gaddafi. Okay, he is Osama bin Laden to me. So that's just the way it is. So, hockey Stanley Cup playoffs have already been good. Some good series already. There's a couple sweeps there, but we still got some really good series. Utah's in the playoffs for the first time ever as well. But
from what I've watched, I mean, Colorado is just beastly.
Colorado's main thing is their special teams. That's their one flaw right now. So if you can get them there, and that's if they can't get that thing going, they won't be able to go any further than this. Because Colorado's been good for a while now. I picked them a couple of times to win the cup when they didn't win the cup. When they actually won the cup, I didn't pick them. But
which wasn't too far ago.
Yeah, it was 2022. So, they're a good team, but it's their power play that was really bottom of the league, which is surprising given what they've got as far as Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon, just those two guys alone. But it's fine. They played what was their series against?
Played Mammoths?
No, Utah's playing Vegas right now. Who's their opponent? Not Anaheim, no. Anaheim's playing Edmonton right now. Dallas is Minnesota. And then, man, that team was forgettable if I forgot who they were. So, in any case, that's Colorado for me. But Carolina, I feel like this is the year. They play a style that's similar to the Panthers, so I know they can beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. The wild card is the Buffalo Sabres, because once again, they might just ride this hype train all the way to the final. It feels like
a house money kind of vibe.
Yeah, it really is. They shouldn't be here. They won the division. They shouldn't be here, and everybody's just here for the vibes right now. And I'm all for it right now. If they win it all, I'm very happy for him. and actually would give football fans something to kind of, you know, dunk on the Bills about. Because then if the Sabres win the cup and they still can't win the Super Bowl, then which helps us segue into the NFL, Charles, because we did have a full season for that too. But I don't want to go into like I forgot what the Super Bowl was about at this point.
Well, we could talk about the two main things. The Super Bowl was boring. Mike Vrabel could not deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, he not in that sort of sense, at least.
Yeah, he was already thinking about Cancun.
Oh, he was thinking of Cancun, all right.
But what we can talk about is the main thing that came out to it, because I think the Titans, they got rid of your boy. They got rid of your favorite, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Mike McDaniel. Yeah. They listened to you.
Yeah, the Miami Dolphins. Now I can be less of the Grinch this coming season because I know what's going to happen. And I've known what's going to happen for a long time now.
He has been reading the tea leaves very well.
I stopped believing the Dolphins ever since Doug took me to training camp one day and he made me believe for one season, and then I stopped believing after that. And now Doug has stopped. Doug stopped believing as well, which is my greatest convert of all time. And I saw Doug as well because we also did a thing. I went to see the 12 Hours of Sebring our race, so did a bunch of unique sports stuff for us over the long hiatus for us. But
yeah, friends actually did friend stuff, guys.
Yeah,
the power of friendship.
Yeah, we did. And me and Andrew are gonna go see the Marlins and Rays at newly renovated Tropicana Field. So that'll be an interesting
I have
journey.
Made enough trips in the last 9 months to Clearwater, Tampa area. I have to go next week to Hillsborough.
Yeah,
assuming I'm not dead. Actually, hold on. You do propose an interesting thing.
We are going the weekend of May 15th, May 16th there. So that's our journey. Who knows? I don't know if you'll be around that time anyways, but
no, I have to be. They're playing the Red Sox in Boston, so it's just not meant to be. Because here's the thing. I'll just sometimes do, like, if I'm in the area, you know me, I'll just like find an excuse to go see sports. Sports is a beautiful thing. We complain about it because we just, you get attached to it. Also, there's just too many games.
We have the benefit of being able to take in a game for pretty cheap, relatively so. Like, we can't, unless, I bet in New York, I'm sure you can take in a Mets game for pretty cheap. What the way things are going.
Everybody likes to see the pigs getting slaughtered, right? That's how I feel about the Mets.
Yeah. But in any case, so the Miami Dolphins finally just blew it up. For the first time in a very long time, they finally not just because they've done little like controlled explosions here and there, but they've never actually blown the whole thing up, like right down to the core. Because we always had Chris Greer at the bottom of all of that, and finally got him to resign. And obviously he was going to be fired, but just to have some respect for him, he resigned after being here for 20 years. And of course, he wasn't at the helm for all 20 of those years, but he moved his way up there to that point. His brother is actually doing well as the GM of the San Jose Sharks and their rebuild right now. But in any case, it just wasn't whatever he was trying to do in Miami. It just didn't work out at all. It wasn't the right personnel at all. And Mike McDaniel, I made some jokes about him. I did some Reservoir Dog edits with AI with him and Joe Pesci and replacing him in that iconic scene where he gets killed. But throughout all of that, I didn't dislike the guy at all. I listened to a comedian called Dan Soder. They actually grew up together. He was butthurt that McDaniel got fired by the Dolphins the way he did, but obviously being a good friend more than anything else. But objectively, come on, man. You knew your buddy was going to get fired. he wasn't gonna last this rebuild. That's for sure.
Well, the writing's on the wall when you talked about Greer getting, a proper sunset. Not really, in my opinion, because you were let go with like 5 weeks left in the season.
Yeah, he left. Yeah, with like midway through the season, and yeah, right where it just seemed like it was just not gonna happen for them, but it just wasn't gonna happen at all. Um, but they got rid of Chris Greer, got rid of Mike McDaniel, again, got rid of
Jalen Waddle's out.
Jalen Waddle,
Your only
Tyreek
productive
Hill,
player on offense.
Tyreek Hill.
But one thing is you get let go of Tyreek because his knee was just basically a factory sausage.
Yeah,
right. So
but
it's like
still,
there's nothing of
just
there.
not. He wasn't because of his.
Trade,
he wasn't because of his history. A guy that I wanted to cheer for. He was just there, right?
Well, and sports fans are all short memory.
Yeah, but still, just the things that he did on a personal note, just like I'm like, yeah, then thanks for those touchdowns and things like that, but I you're still not a good human being. But in any case, and then got rid of Tua.
Yeah.
Out of all,
and that's the whole thing. Is sometimes with rebuilds they'll keep a guy.
No.
And just let the coach go out, but this one's like, no, we're taking it full, and now Tua's over in Atlanta, which is the perfect spot for him with Kevin Stefanski, because Stefanski's not going to ask him to throw more than like 20 times a game, right? He's gonna like, oh, you do your thing.
It's but as a Dolphins fan, I know there's people that are always irrational Dolphins fans, and they're always going to be there, and I've been a very pessimistic Miami Dolphins fan, the Grinch. Every year, Charles, I was the Grinch. When it come December, I became the Grinch, and I always, shut up the gifts of the Grinch on the group chat. But this is the first year where I'm just like, finally something different, finally something new, because blowing this up is just what needed to happen, and I'm willing for this. I'm willing for this team. They've been so bad for so long for me. What's another 3 years or something like that to me? Some teams, if they know what they're doing, can actually rebuild pretty quickly in the NFL. Which also kind of gives you a little bit of hope, right? If I'm Gordon Freeman getting injected with hope right now, but I don't know. I'm gonna give them 3 years and be like, okay, let's see what you guys can do. Can we set up, like, I don't think Malik Willis is going to be our forever quarterback. And it's guys from the Green Bay Packers. That's our new model right now. We'll see how that works. But hey, the Packers have had actual success in the last few years, and it's okay, fine. Dolphins are kind of just picking from all over the place. But like, hey, this new group is just like, oh, we're going to do the way that we did things in Green Bay, and we'll see if it works out here in the AFC East, which it can, because, you got the Patriots, they came back, but I don't know how long that's going to last, and we'll see if Mike Vrabel can keep it in his pants for long enough to keep coaching. And the Bills going to open their new stadium. I'm sure they're still going to be a good team. And then you got the Jets, who are the Jets.
That feels like that window is closing for the Bills as well. But my thoughts my thoughts for the Dolphins is pretty much this. I feel the last several years, Greer was kind of hitting on those draft picks at least. Yeah, say what you will about Tua, but he still was able to pad those stats exceptionally well. I liked Waddle, and itself, and Devin Chain was good. It's just, I always felt like they kind of went for the swing and the miss on certain free agents or even who to trade for, and that's what kind of bit you in the butt. Like, at the end of the day, you had Jalen Ramsey for like a season and a half, right? It's not like a resource that was fully needed, and then you switch it back for your old safety, whose name escapes me right now, who started out with you, and then you trade him over to Pittsburgh a couple years after the fact.
Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, he came back.
And I think it's the idea of whatever leadership you have or whatever GM or coach, it really shouldn't be like, I need guys who fit this scheme that I'm going to have, because what that shows to me is narrow-mindedness. Really, it's the idea of like, you gave him this person, how can I maximize them on some level? but you suffer a little bit from the situation of like you kind of do need skill players for your offense and defense, but then you need the opportunity to open up to some free agents instead of just overspending. So how do you get the healthy kind of blend? And I can't say I know enough about Halfley, your coach, because I think he was only the head coach, or I'm sorry, the defensive coordinator in Green Bay for like a season and a half or 2 seasons. And I don't know if that's enough on a litmus test. And I don't know if it's a culture thing. You guys got a little bit of the bad bunch with some of the people that you've brought in, like Tyreek, right, of personality, but you can keep them under control. But it's just a very incomplete team. And this draft, you got, I believe, Kelvin Proctor as your tackle, and then you waited until like the 4th round to start like getting wide receivers, and it's just so incomplete that you really have to kind of hope either these draft picks were just kind of like hidden gems, and then you're just going to ask them to be much like Green Bay, who doesn't have a receiver who's going to go 1,000 yards or 410 yards and say, hey, everybody just contribute the part and we'll have a strong run game and let's win close situational football. Or it's going to be like the Cam Cameron days, right? Where you're going to go 1-15 and then maybe you get a quick in and out after that with what they had Tony Sperano right after. And then you just kind of rehybrid it. But I think if anything, getting rid of Greer gives the opportunity to kind of just be like, all right, we'll get a different way of how we're having to go in draft and also get free agents. I decided to bring them in or not bring them in, because that was the one problem with Greer when they spoke so highly of McDaniels. McDaniels he's gonna get a head coaching job again. I'm almost confident of it.
Yeah, and he's going to the Chargers, right? With Harbaugh.
Yeah, he's gonna do the OC thing,
Yeah.
for 1 year, and he'll get like the first place that probably pops in, which will probably be Washington when they can Dan Quinn, because they're impatient. But the idea is that Greer was like, all right, McDaniel, you gotta get this, let's do it. But I don't think they miss on the most important thing, which is sometimes like just get somebody who knows how to galvanize a team when things are not going well, because that's where McDaniel failed. I think, because the whole thing is like Tua was playing bad. Tua turned the ball over, but then you have Sam Darnold who turned the ball over a lot, even for Seattle, and they're able to succeed. You got to have that coach who kind of say, hey, that's just one game. Let's not make that mistakes that we had one game ago, and let's go out there and win. And that was like missing for several years. But also, you and I know that the offense that was built up was never going to be fully sustainable. And what it was is a very big cover up makeup on a very large bruise, which was a bad infrastructure of how the team was built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so this era of Dolphins football is finally over. I'm just glad something new is happening. But, well, your Titans, I think this is their final season in their old stadium before they move into the new one, right? And well, you're already in this rebuild, and we just had the draft. So you're in a.
I mean, long short of it, because I can save you the time. Thank you for wanting to give me an hour on the platform of the Titans, right? But I'm glad we didn't draft Jeremiah Love. No running back is worth a top 5 pick, even if they're like stupendous. They're not worth a top 5 pick. It's because what you can trade out. Because some people say, oh, hey, well, Saquon was the last top round pick at number 2, and he did great. You guys have recency bias. He did great for the Eagles, breaking that 2,000-yard thing. That's with the Eagles, not with his drafted team. Mm-hmm. He had injuries that happened throughout the course of his Giants career. And at the end of the day, to me, you're not a great running back. And maybe I'm saying this spoiled, right, because of who I had. But you have 17 games now. And if you're only getting me like 1,100 yards rushing and some receptions, it much ado about nothing. When it's either trade down or not. And the Cardinals are a weird team. They've always been a weird organization, and they've always drafted weird. And then they have those spurts. So if they said Jeremiah Love at number 3 when you don't have a quarterback, you just brought in Mike LaFleur, you have questions on defense, you have questions on offense, and you don't want to trade down to get a king's ransom, by all means. That being said, getting Carnell Tate is fine to a degree. We signed Wandale Robinson.
Someone to throw to.
Someone to throw to. It's debatable if he was the best receiver that draft or if it was not the Tyson kid from USC or Arizona, but it's debatable. The whole idea is we did get somebody, and even though I like the receivers they got the year prior, Alec Alomar and then Chimere Deke, and Deke did end up getting a Pro Bowl for being a returner. They capped 500 yards receiving. And part of that is because we fired Brian Callahan like 3 weeks into the season, and we didn't have like an offense to really install. We hired Robert Saleh. Okay, fine, I guess. Better than what was rumored out there with Matt Nagy. And I probably would have just stopped the fandom if we hired Matt Nagy. No offense to Matt Nagy, but like you had your time to shine. There's some guys who get a time to shine and should never get an opportunity again. Salah, I would even say the same thing too. I didn't want him either, but I don't hate having him. You know what I mean? It's like it's like yeah, sure, whatever, kind of higher.
It's hard to gauge someone when their only head coaching experience before was the New York Jets. So
exactly. It's like evaluating a manager in baseball when they're a perennially bad team like the Chicago White Sox, right? So
well, I mean, except Rick Renteria, who you actually are high on.
Except for Rick Renteria. But, has Rick Renteria gotten any work since? No. So maybe I'm wrong about everything, right? So we get Cardinal Tate. He'll catch the ball. I like Falk out of Auburn, even though he might need time to develop. Sal likes to do a lot of rotational sets in his offense. In his defense. So it can build up, right? That's the whole thing. Everything can build up. It's just you have to give it time. But Calvin Ridley, we redid his contract, so he's still on for 2 years but less money. And you just have to kind of put it for success, because even if Cam Ward's not the guy, and look, he played all 17 games this season. He got knocked out the last week of the game, like 2 plays in. He had like a 59.7 completion rating. Okay, that's fine. Who's he throwing the ball to? I just told you nobody eclipsed 600 yards receiving. We had like the worst receiver room besides Cleveland. And he has moxie. It's just you also have to kind of give time to people to learn. And I mean, that's just typically I'm always going to say it until it doesn't come through into fruition. But we just need that consistency. I'm looking at the stats for Saquon, so I could just talk trash for 2 seconds. First year, 1,300 yards. Second year, 1,000 yards. Third year, when he got hurt, it was COVID year, 34 yards. 2021, he only had 593 yards. I kind of feel right in my statement. Just saying. Because following 2 years, 1,300, 962. Kind of feel right. That was the second pick of the draft. You could have done more and get more out of it. But with the Titans, you're just going to watch it. And the Titans hurt me less than all my other teams. But what I do want, as I've been preaching to you for 5 years, that Mike Vrabel couldn't get me. And Brian Callahan wanted to, but, it's like him trying to paint a portrait, but maybe he's colorblind, is that I want a modern-day offense on my team. I want to see that we don't have to struggle to put up 24 points. You know what I mean? Because that's really what kind of like gets you to win. Because at the end of the day, a great defense is fantastic, guys. But you still got to score more.
You got a defensive head coach again, so
Yeah, but you got to score more points. Mm-hmm. And whether it's 1 point or not, but I was stuck in the Jeff Fisher world where it was like, oh, we scored up to 16-point guys, high five. And then there was like Mike Vrabel, who, yeah, we were doing very well for a slow period of time because everything was like good when Tannehill had that really excellent season, but it was like, just run the ball. We're afraid to do things. If you're afraid to pass the ball, you either don't have the right team in place, and this is after we trade A.J. Brown, right? So that's been a lingering issue. Who's it going to get traded again? Back to Mike Vrabel. Or you maybe want to adapt on the fly in season and say, hey, this isn't working. We got to do this. And that's the lack of brilliance that Vrabel didn't have. And Charles, you just hate Vrabel. Really? Then why is he riding the coattails of Josh McDaniels? Because McDaniels is a bad head coach, fantastic offensive coordinator everywhere he goes. Plain simple. So we're going to see where it takes us. Like you had mentioned about the Panthers, where they were infusing a style and then they got it going. That's all I can hope for. And there's still going to be question marks, but can this elevate us from going 3-14 to like 6-11? Sure. That's what you want out of it, because there's nothing intimidating.
I mean, you're in that division. NFL. I mean, you're in the AFC South, which is like Houston, Jacksonville, and Indy.
Well, Houston, if they cared, they're going to be consistent. Indy was that 1 year wonder. You can't put stock.
Was that 1/2 wonder actually last year?
1/2 wonder until an Achilles popped out, and then Jacksonville. We've seen the song and dance before. we've seen it, right? Every first year, hey, Doug Peterson, hey, playoffs. Now we have Liam go, hey, playoffs. We got Marone, hey, playoffs. And then all just some people are just designated to be the bridesmaid, or some teams are designated to be the bridesmaid. It's kind of them, you know what I mean? Because some bridesmaids become maid of honors, and that's how I always feel about Jacksonville. Don't tell Andrew that. Well, he shouldn't care because 1 week he's a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, the other week he's like, huh?
All
But that's all I
right.
have to say about the Titans.
All right. So yeah. So that's the NFL. So we talk about that. Talk about I don't know. I'll wait till Andrew's here for college football if he wants to talk about that. We're an hour and 50, Charles. So we're kind of wrapping up towards the end of the show. Um, anything like I know wrestling. You've been in a. It's been an
Next
interesting.
week.
It's been an interesting relationship between you, but we'll save that for next week.
Yeah, because I want to talk about what I really want to talk about, and I think it's a perfect caper to the episode.
Okay. All right.
Alex Cora got fired.
Yeah. So
And I had to sit down.
We didn't. Yeah, we haven't talked about baseball. Baseball started so far. We are now 1 month into the season, and so we can kind of get a gauge of what our teams are like. At least what we're hoping their teams will be able to go with. So we can kind of finish this last 8 minutes or so talking about baseball right now. As of now, your Yankees are in first place right now in the AL East, followed by Andrew's Tampa Bay Rays, and then I think the Baltimore Orioles, and then the Toronto Blue Jays, and then the Boston Red Sox. My Marlins are actually second place in our division, but that's only because
the NL East is booty.
Yeah, the Washington
Big booty.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Mets have completely imploded on themselves, while the Atlanta Braves are just running away with it at this point. And the Braves have like I don't know how many pitchers injured, and yet they're just a competent team, which is not what the Phillies. Well, the Phillies I think it's just because I don't know, maybe they're just getting too old and everything. The Mets is just because they're incompetent and didn't construct an actual good lineup, and Juan Soto actually might be the devil because so
over there.
So I talked to my boss. He's a diehard New York Mets fan, Charles. He wants Juan Soto off of his team.
Really? He doesn't want to pay $800 million to a guy?
No, he thinks that he fucked up fucked up the chemistry 5. He would have been perfectly happy if they just kept Alonso and Nimmo and I forgot who else they got rid of, but just because it felt like those guys actually were there a while and they actually cared. And Juan Soto, and I told him too, like, Juan Soto's, he's got his World Series ring. He already had his little hero movement with the Yankees, and now he got paid. So what more is there for him to do? Why should he even care about actually playing for the Mets? So it's been an interesting conversation with him as it just keeps getting worse and worse as the days go on. But you, of course, are relishing it as the other side, the other burrow there.
So the thing is with the Mets, the revenge tour was last year, and it was perfect because you did everything. Because he didn't want to stay with us; he always wanted to be with the Mets for whatever reason, and he was just using us to outprice it. I had said that even when we traded for him. I was hoping, and look, he was a great addition for that season because that's the only time we were able to get to the World Series under Boone. But the way he courted and lied about it when it was known that he wanted to go to the Mets the entire time was frankly annoying. And the thing what happened with the Mets with Cohen as their owner was just like he thought he could super build a team and spend everything, and he realized it didn't work, so he like guts it every year. And then now you go and give Soto that outrageous amount of money that even, I believe, eclipses out what Shohei was doing, even though it's backloaded. But that's okay. Pay Shohei. I don't care. Like, I fight with it a lot, but he's still a great baseball player. And not to say that Juan Soto isn't a great baseball player. Listen, he hit 43 bombs last year, 263 average. He's going to do a lot of good things. But that team, because they don't know what, and you have, I believe in baseball, you have a vision of how you want your team to proceed, not from whom you sign as free agents, but who do you have from AAA down in case those guys get hurt. right? And you build on that a little bit because you talk about groove and dynamic, you talk about chemistry, and are you a team that just gets bats on base? Are you a team that hits bombs? Are you a team that's just straight up on pitchers? I think bottom up, top down is where it kind of guides you. And the Mets don't have that because really it's like we just got these guys and we paid for big guys, and now we drive through other guys because they got Bo Bichette as well, and then they got a lot of my handles. Got Devin Williams and Luke Weaver, and if we wanted them out so badly, you should have taken some note into it.
I mean, that Mets lineup is just kind of weirdly constructed. They got Bo
You have
Bichette.
Sean Manaea, and Sean Manaea wasn't doing good.
Yeah, he wasn't even good.
Remember, last year they picked up Domingo Yaman. No, that wasn't Domingo. They picked up our other sloppy seconds. You know, his name escapes me, but it'll come back to me. You know, it always does. Where it's like,
was it Severino?
Severino, yeah, they lose Severino. Thank you. I think they also had Domingo Yaman for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it seems like every you guys have been doing that for a while. The Mets always seem to get these washed up Yanks. So let's see. You guys are leading your division by 1.5 games. Have a positive run differential. Just kind of doing what you're supposed to do.
We won like 9 of the last 10.
Yeah. So just
we started at like 8-1 and then went on a downturn. Now we're up.
Andrew's Rays started off kind of slow, but they picked it up again, and it looks like it's going to be another one of those years where the Rays are just going to be a good team.
Considering the fact that the AL East is just deficient, maybe you can get Baltimore or Toronto to kind of like care again and build it up, but you maybe going to get somebody from the Central or possibly the West to be the other wild card team.
Yeah, I mean, the A's are in first place in the West. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
Yeah, I won't put much stock into that.
I mean, I find it funny if they actually held a playoff game in Sacramento, but anyways, that's the rest of the American League, and then the Cincinnati Reds lead the NL Central. I don't know what the hype was with this. People were like hyping the Pittsburgh Pirates for whatever dumb reason.
It's Pittsburgh.
I don't know
because you know why it's the old kind of claim.
Really trying to prop up Paul Skeens, huh?
Yeah. Well, hey, I love Paul Skeens, but I think we should always like hype up Cincinnati because Tito is the manager there, and the man's just like a rainmaker. He's a rainmaker.
Yeah. So. And that Reds squad is pretty good, man. The Marlins did 4-game series was 2-2, so the Marlins have been able to hang with some of these teams. It's just man, I know my manager's a second-year manager, but I don't know what the numbers are telling them, but I have no idea.
But you really, really want a certain manager who just got fired, and it's killing me that you do.
I don't know. I just feel like some experience could actually help here. So that's all. But he'll never come here. The Marlins will never pay him the money that he would.
Yeah.
So, but in any case, there have been firings already. Phillies fired Thompson, and Don Mattingly is now the manager. So conveniently enough, and who else fired their manager?
It was Cora and him only.
That's so far, yeah. Everybody has the Mets manager as the next one on the
Mendoza's probably. Yeah. If they haven't done it now, I really think they just let him ride out that season.
Yeah,
because you want stability. Because remember, they had instability the last couple of years because Mendoza was our bench coach, and then they had whoever their other manager was, and they fired him. So it's like you want to kind of like entice people because they went to Cora, and Cora's like, I'm good. I just want to spend time with my family. This kind of sucks kind of thing. And you want to kind of demonstrate that you have leadership who wants to kind of be not butting in a pain in the butt. Yeah, they had Carlos Mendoza, but they had Buck Showalter. All right, so this is the rundown, right? Yeah, Terry Collins from 2011 2017, Mickey Callaway from 2018 and 2019, Luis Rojas from 2020 and 2021, then Buck Showalter, forgot Buck was there for a cup of coffee, for 22 and 23, and then Mendoza. It's not a good look to have like 6 different managers in the span of 5 years, right? So you want to, like, Cora's could be the prize pig, sure. Thompson replaced Joe Girardi. So because Girardi, who made great with us and was on headway with you guys, just couldn't survive in Philly. But Thompson at least had some credentials going to the
Was he with the Yanks,
NCLS.
right? Yeah, because he was with Girardi. No,
Yeah,
yeah, he was with the Yanks
no,
too. Yeah.
yeah, because we have Mendoza. He was on our brain tree because he was our third base bench coach, I believe. Um, the thing with Cora, because I could say it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
He is the product of the roster that was given. I think I screenshot it and sent you guys the overall production of where he was going to, where the Red Sox were. Because yes, they won the World Series in his first year. He cheated. I know he cheated. Everybody's gonna say no, but there was
He
not a valid
also came from
investigation.
the Astros in 2017. So.
Literally, the year after, right? He cheated, and no one wanted to go for it. That's fine. And they found that out. They banned him, and they kept that seat nice and warm until he can come back in. And then, as if nothing had happened, and it was just all game over after that. What comes of it is they went to what? The playoffs 3 other times in the 7 or 8 years I was there. We eliminate them last year in the wild card rounds. That was like my World Series. They go to, I believe, the ALCS in 2022, or maybe it was the ALDS. And they played Houston. That was the year Dusty got his ring, and they kind of got popped out. And then people wanted to kind of say that it was a product of him and them just trading away all these players. But Boston, even though they traded away like Mookie, who was a generational talent at that time, they still never let up and always kind of like surround him with good talent. And even last year, they weren't a great team. They got hot later on in the second season, and then they flamed out. And will he get another head coaching job? He shouldn't. He should have been blacklisted permanently, but no one has the balls to do it. And he'll get it. But I couldn't see it when you're given the keys to the franchise for so long, and the hype that kind of came into it, where your island of relevancy, if I could use wrestling terminology, was just essentially getting to that first year and just dipping out after the fact for all those years that kind of came in. Like, I have it right in front of me because I had to research it. The year they cheated, 108 wins, 54 losses. The following year in 2019, 84-78, then 92-70, 78-84, 78-84, 81-81, 89-73, and he lasts like the 10 games there. Barely kind of over 500, 620, 541. Not that it matters to a degree, but it's just one of those things where people were shocked. How could they? I thought they were going to start the process. He was going to go there, and they had Roman Anthony, and they had Garrett Crochet, who's on the inflammation, or he has elbow inflammation, so he's on the injured list. You are given a blessing in baseball to last 8 seasons or 7 seasons with a team. That's being patient, and I know this because of Boone, right? But we were the exceptions. Boston and the Yanks were the exceptions because everybody else was getting hot-tailed, hot potato tossed around. Who like what? Brandon Hyde got fired last year for Baltimore when he was building something there because it was not up to par. But when you're getting blown out, when you can't hit runs and you can't adapt into it, you can only say it's so much on the players to the managers. But I'll say this: Core knew how to do lines, but was he just like? Because baseball's so weird, man, because I feel like it is that sport. Like, if you have the right guys who are just stars and superstars, you can get away with bad management. It happens a lot. But
I mean, it's Dave Roberts. To be honest,
but
if the Dodgers didn't spend the way they do, his mistakes would be out in the
there
open
you go,
like crazy.
There you go. Because once they start funneling back the cash, I think that's the core argument. Once it starts like going and disappearing, and then you're just giving dudes instead of guys, then it all goes to hell. And then you're really looking for the proper game managers, the guys who look at the tape, the guys who do live. And it's not Boone. You've heard me. I've had multiple times throughout the years dissect my disdain for the man.
I mean, there's just some managers that they just can't. They can't be handed a mid team and make them better. Right,
and
there's just some guys you can only have superstar. I mean, what Joe Torre didn't have any success until he went to the Yanks.
Yeah.
You know?
But that was also because the thing with the Yanks is they at least had a unit to kind of draft and bring up on. But we were all throwing love to Roman Anthony, and then he has not just come up in comparison to last year. And I'm looking at their stuff now. You still have like the aging body of Trevor Story just trying. You have the aging body of Wilson Contreras. You got the remnant corpse of Caleb Durbin trying, even though he was kind of like a prospect a little bit coming from the Brewers. And then you have IKF, who's like our third sloppy seconds going over there. And then you have some dudes we don't know about. And that's the thing that separates us from like the dudes like Tito, because the Rainmaker, or there's sometimes he just got hot and going and like, yeah, he actually does stuff. Or we talk about, of course, Joe Madden, of what he did in Tampa when there wasn't really like, there were some above average players, but it was like one or two in a lineup of 9 and then your pitchers. So Cora will get another try, but I feel complete, man. I feel complete because
it's been a journey.
It's been a journey. And whatever, because I remember we were doing the Revenge Painmaker Tour 2020, right? After all that nonsense. But it's so funny to me that we are not in the dire straits because we can fire Boone and we have a plug and play and that team's going to get us there. And that's without Rodon and Cole yet. Schlittler is really good. And I'm hoping that he can keep his command delivery. I got concerns about that lineup. Everybody does, because there's no such thing as a perfect 1 through 9 unless you play for the Dodgers, right? But it's something to go from there. Whereas I don't know, because this is not to benefit Cora. When you get rid of it, because it wasn't just him who was out, it was like his entire staff, dude. And they were just like calling everybody up. They even got rid of Veritek, which was funny to me. Where do you leave that team? And how bad is it going to be? And how could it be good? And how can that position be attractive? The Mets can be attractive because it's like, hey, you can put Soto and Lindor and his aging corpse as a front line, and people want to pop in. But like when you fire a manager who's respected in the league, like Cora was, I think it makes people more hesitant because you did that. You did that to his bench warmer, whose name escapes me. And then it gets kind of screwy. So I've been enjoying it. It was good. I don't know if I can convince the argument to people that I think Alex Cora is just an average manager, but I don't have to because I know he's going to get another job. It just makes me feel good to say it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It depends on where he goes, right? If he goes to a team that's like maybe on the rise and see if he can make them better. But if he just goes to another situation where they're just we spend $200 million and we'll give you all the guys, and then the
I legitimately see him. I see him going to Arizona. Because I don't think Terry Lovely, or however you say his name, is going to make it another year when they were like 2 years removed from the World Series. And then they had so many injuries last year that they gave him the pass.
Still,
but I can see him a target.
Yeah, and they're still a good ball club, but that's like it feels like they have potential that just hasn't been unlocked yet. Yeah. Right, because they've been able to hang with the Dodgers and the Padres in that division, while the Giants have just kind of been spinning their wheels, and the Rockies are just terrible.
I think we're always looking for the next Bruce Bochy. When you talk about that guy who bounced a bit and then
Terry Francona is the guy right now.
Yeah, that's my Rainmaker right there.
Yeah, Terry Francona is that guy right now, and really the only big name that's just kind of sitting there doing nothing is Joe Madden, because he hasn't had a job since that Angels job, and the Angels are just so terrible. It's just like, can you really count that against his record? Really? I don't think
it's like an exhibition out of retirement, right?
Yeah. So I think Joe Madden's probably like one of these teams is going to try and give him stupid money to manage. I feel like the Mets would do something like that. Just he'll solve all our problems, and I don't think it will. I think it'll just be like him being at the Angels again, and he might not even take that job if that's the case. But unless they throw him the money, which they could. But that's what I see with the New York Mets, at least. But Don Mattingly's undefeated so far with Phils, so that's 3-0 already. So, but they play the Giants, who are just inconsistent and in last place. So I don't know how much you can glean for that. All right, 2 hours and 10 minutes, Charles. I think that should be it. That's a lot to talk about within that time frame, because we've been waiting. But thank you, everybody. I'll see y'all I don't know if we'll do this next week. I don't know if we wanted to make this bi-weekly. I'm not sure.
I have all that free time now.
Okay.
Because, like I said, a majority of it was on me for doing the school and the work. Now we're like 9 months out of it, and then we're done with that certificate. So I'm game for everything because, like we talked about, we don't have normal hobbies.
Yeah, I think
what we talk about
bi-weekly
is what
might
we do.
work out for us because we're in baseball season, which is kind of like.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're near dead zone time.
Yeah, and then like a lot of stuff happens in both of the playoffs right now where we have a lot of meat to chew on there. So I think I might just go bi-weekly. So it might be Siege in a couple weeks. I might do something in between, regardless, because I'm actually trying to use this studio more now that I have it set up the way I want to, Charles, the way I've wanted it for a long time. So, all right, everybody, bye bye.
Take care.